Madeira 2022 is what you need to know. And of course, what else you need to know is please do wear your mask at all times above your nose and your mouth. And it's Poncha that is delivering that message on the screen and also coming out onto poolside in a moment, I believe, as well.
Não esquecer a utilização obrigatória da máscara dentro do complexo da piscina e podem ainda utilizar a hashtag Madeira 2022 para nos mandar tweets e interagir connosco e com a Poncha. Por falar em Poncha, ela está nos blocos. Poncha, dar-vos as boas-vindas e um bom dia aqui ao complexo de piscinas da Penteada na Madeira.
Good morning and welcome back to Funchal on the island of Madeira. We are back again for day 5 of the World Para Swimming Championships 2022. There is a scene outside the Pentada Olympic Swimming Pools complex on the hillside in Funchal, the capital of the island of Madeira. Well, day 5 already. The week has flown in. The first 4 days, I've seen some great action here on the island. Well, more World Championship titles to be handed out today, but this morning it's heats all the way for the swimmers trying to make it through to those medal finals tonight. My name's Paul Noble, and I'm joined, as always, in the commentary box by Liz Johnson. Morning, Liz.
Morning, Paul. I'm here flying through this program, aren't we?
We are. It just seems to have flown in the first 4 days. We've got 3 more days of action to come in this 7-day meet, and quite a range of different events. A lot of freestyle today.
Yeah, it's a busy one this morning. Going to be treated to a lot of heats.
Yeah, 400 freestyle for the women and men S9. We've got the women first today. All week it's been the men's event first. As we go through the programme, it's the women first today.
Yeah, I keep looking and I turn the page and I don't see the men and I'm like, oh, there they are.
Again, as always, a range of distances, a range of classifications, a range of strokes as well. Just a reminder, S1 to S10, those with a physical impairment, with S1 being the most severe and S10 being the least impaired. And S11 to 13, those with a visual impairment, and S14, those with an intellectual impairment. We finished the morning with a very exciting 4x100 metres medley relay. That is one to look forward to. A little bit longer session today, and there's the swimmers making their way from the call room into the starting area, just behind those 2 massive screens that you'll see at the end of the pool. There they are. Swimmers will emerge from the centre of those 2 screens, playing the animation at the moment. They'll fan out in the finals tonight, but they'll just kind of file out in the heats this morning.
Yeah, in the heats, the athletes come out, they stand behind their blocks, and everything moves quite smoothly. There's a rotation. Each event has its start time, but there's no big lane announcements. And then in the finals, it's the showcase, and people walk out like they're in a theatre.
That's it, into the arena for the finals tonight. This is heats, as I said, all the way. And there is some of the fans that have made their way in for this heat session. As German team who had a very successful day a couple of days ago. We've got a couple of their big names coming in today. And they had the USA had a good day yesterday, didn't they? And Brazil.
Yeah, USA, Brazil, Medley. It was the first time, wasn't it, that we didn't see the gold medals spread out quite so much. We had some big performances, and it happens like that sometimes. Countries, you've got your swimmers, you've got your events, and the program dictates whether you have a quiet day, a busy day. But when you get that busy day, it always just feels like you've given a bit more momentum and a push. But
yeah, it was good. USA seemed to be on the right end of some close finishes as well. We had a world record last night with Simone Barlam of Italy. That was sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah, that really brought the pool alive. He swims so well here in Funchal. He did last year, and he goes later in the programme.
Yeah, not too much later actually, but he's back in again, just in the second event. Here's the first event of this morning, and it's the women's 400 freestyle in the S9 classification. 8 swimmers will progress from the heats into the final. There's only 9 in this one and only heat, so we only have to lose 1 swimmer. And I think we actually only have 8, because I can't see Lakeisha Patterson from Australia in the centre lane. So the Paralympic champion not taking the start. There's Tony Shaw, just missed out on the medals last night in the 100 freestyle, just finishing in 4th position, but she did pick up a medal in the butterfly a couple of days ago. Sophia Conkley, Paralympic Games silver medalist from Hungary. Oh, the absence of Patterson, the Australian, Conkley will be the favourite for this one.
Yeah, and Conkley has been on great form. Hungary were another example of a country that had a brilliant night earlier in the week. And they really have developed over the years. Sophia Conkley, part of a group that came through as youngsters, and in Tokyo in 2020, that all came to the forefront with gold medals for her. Bianca Papp in the S10 category, Fanny Isles in the SB4 classification group. So the Hungarians are swimming very well, but there's a real opportunity here for these athletes to take another world championship. And Conkley will be the favourite, but Tony Shaw will hopefully, she will hope that this is her opportunity to convert some of those fourth places into a higher podium place, because this is the event that she got her bronze in at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. We've seen a lot of blanket finishes in these S9 women's events this week, and like you said, Paul, sometimes you just get on the wrong end of that, and that's been Tony Shaw in a couple of those this week. But in this heat, we're not going to see much of what these athletes are capable of, because with only 8 athletes being in the heat, as long as they can get through without getting disqualified, then all will progress to the final.
Yeah, and you see Tony Shaw going along very nicely there in lane number 3. She had a great World Championships back in 2019. It was her World Championship debut. She's only 18 years of age at the moment. Tony Shaw back in 2019, 2 silvers and 2 bronzes in the individual events, and also part of the Great Britain women's relay team that took 2 gold medals as well. So very successful first World Championships for Tony Shaw, and a medal already in her second World Championships here. Sophia Konkoly just stretching away from the field at the moment, but the French swimmer down in lane number 7 is going well. Agata Pauli in her first World Championship. And you see her just on the edge of the screen there, just challenging Tony Shaw for second position. And the 18-year-old going really well at the bottom here.
Yeah, the front runner's going well at the moment, but it's also a nice little battle developing. Summer Schmidt of the United States of America in lane 1 and Yulia Gordushik of Israel in lane 2. They're keeping each other company and on pace as we move through this 400 metres freestyle.
Konkoly has been really good the last couple of years, hasn't she? She's really come to the fore. But she almost took the gold in Tokyo last year. The difference between her and Lakeisha Patterson, who took the gold, was only 8/100ths of a second. Incredibly close 400 freestyle.
Yeah, we've talked about how close some of the finishers have been across the board in this classification group here at these World Championships. But this 400 metres freestyle, it always provides the drama at the major championships. That Tokyo finish was very, very close, and then 4 years previous, it came right down to the wire, 2/100ths of a second there between Nuria Marcus Soto, who was the eventual winner from Spain, and Australia's great Ellie Cole, who's sitting this championships out. She's put her focuses on the Commonwealth Games in the summer, so there's a real opportunity, and Konkoly looks like she wants to give herself a great lane draw for the final, because when you're in that cat and mouse, you want to be in a position where you can see everybody else.
Yeah, Konkoly will definitely be the favourite for this one. We mentioned Nuria Marquez Soto as well, a Spanish swimmer. She is focusing on other events. We've seen her here at the championships in Madeira, not doing the 400 freestyle on this occasion. But Sophia Konkoly, a well balanced stroke. She really made a big move at the European Championships last year, when we saw the Hungarians really kind of step up the times they were recording.
Yeah, they've been, like we said, they've been around. They were an example of a country who developed their youngsters. They brought them onto the international scene very, very young to get that experience, to become comfortable. And it was last year in 2021 where we saw that comfort start to reap those rewards. They showed the promise of what they might be able to achieve in the summer at the European Championships in this very pool, and then they delivered in Tokyo.
I'll come into the closing stages now. Sophia Konkoly is going to take this one for the Hungarian team. She cruises in ahead of Tony Shaw. Good swim at the bottom by the young French swimmer. Agata Pauli getting in third ahead of Emma Memčić. A good swim there, the Croatian swimmer. Saw some of the Croatian fans in the crowd earlier on. They'll be pleased with their swimmer's performance there, under the 5-minute mark for the Croatian. It's 15-year-olds, some youngsters in this field. 15-year-old Memčić. Agata Pauli, only 18 years of age. Tony Shaw, just 18 years of age as well, but seems like she's been around for a number of years.
Yeah, and that's what's so exciting, I think, about this S9 classification group. It's got the full range of diversity in terms of impairments, in terms of experience, in terms of age, and everything seems to be coming together. That every time they race, it's a breath-holding moment for the spectators. But Sophia Conkley looked very, very comfortable there, as did Tony Shaw, and they'll look to move that on tonight in the final.
Here's the result confirmed. Sophia Conkley first position there in that one and only heat, and they will all advance to the final. Portugal, home favourite, Susana Veiga in 8th position. Don't often see her in the 400. 50-metre specialist. Did well in the 100, in the early stages of the 100 yesterday.
Yeah, but I think when you're at a home competition, you want to get involved in the action, and actually sometimes it's easier to race than it is to sit around and get all your emotions absorbed by being on poolside. So that's the tactic that she's gone for here.
Well, we talked earlier about Simone Barlam's great performance in the 100 freestyle, that incredible world record. He also took a gold medal in the butterfly as well, which again was a superb swim from the Italian. He is bang on form, and he goes in lane 5 in this first heat. And he'll be next to European champion Hugo Didier of France. Didier, another one, really performed well. We saw Hugo Didier the first time, maybe back in 2018. He's certainly been the man to beat this week, Liz, but 400, he's not got an outstanding record in the 400. He picked up a European bronze last year, but we used to see him going over the shorter distances.
He's a bit of an unknown quantity in this one. He has got the second fastest time in the world this year, but it's all very tight at the top, and the athletes in the second heat will definitely be keeping an eye on this one.
Hugo Didier, we've seen him take a couple of medals already, a couple of silver medals in the individual medley and in the 100 freestyle, and in those events he's kind of built through those races. Even in the 100 he was well, 5th I think at the turn, and came through for 2nd position, so he built through the race as he did in the IM, whereas Barlam has just gone out straight from the start in every race he's done.
Yeah, and this is pretty controlled here by Simone Barlam standards, 29.62 at the turn. He does lead, but the Frenchman, his reputation is well known for being a very fast finisher in whatever event he does. He's strong, we've seen that, but in the 100 metres not only did he finish strongly, but in order to do that you have to be able to turn the speed on. So Didier is definitely a threat, the Paralympic Games silver medalist. They've also, this generation, Barlam, Didier, they've kind of developed, come through all at the same time, and the racing brings out the best in them, and it is Didier there, that second after the 100 metres with Enrique Shrink Martinez of Spain, who had a great swim also in that 100 metres freestyle, turning 3rd after the first 100 metres.
Yeah, all these swimmers, you said, Liz, around about the same age. Shrink Martinez and Didier, both 20-year-olds. Barlam just 21, so they are almost the same generation of swimmers coming through here. Shrink Martinez did have an impressive swim in that 100 freestyle, as he said. We've kind of known him as a relay swimmer for the Spanish team. He's been an important relay member of their squads. That's kind of changed a little bit with the relays as well. It was previously it was male and female relays, but now it's all mixed.
Yeah, and we'll get to see our first mixed 34-point relay at the end of this session. There are heats for that, and obviously there will be finals tonight, and expect some of these athletes in the water right now to feature in those relays later today. Barlam still in a commanding position, 209.67 for him at the turn, but as expected, Hugo Didier only 0.39 of a second behind him. And now it is Ecuador's Eric Tandazu that had a good second 100 there, and he's moved in to that 3rd position.
Yeah, Eric Tandazzo making his debut at the major competitions. Just 19 years of age. He's down in lane number 7, so just challenging there, but Frank Martinez has gone back ahead of the Ecuadorian. Ecuador only ever won one medal at Para Swimming World Championships.
And that was?
That's back in the Mexico Games in 2017. We've been keeping an eye on the medal table. I've been asked not to ask Liz Johnson about our medal table this morning.
No, only because it's right at the moment, so it's the same as the official one, because I obviously count the gold medals after each presentation, and there hasn't been any presentations in the time that we were sleeping. But now we can see Hugo Didier of France. He's decided, actually, maybe he does want to make his move. Maybe he does want to remind Simone Barlam that he isn't going to have it all his own way at this World Championships. And both athletes looking very strong there. You can see the difference in their strokes. Barlam known for that long wingspan. Didier has a good, long, strong cycle, but he tends to move his arms more quickly as he gets very little from his leg kick. He uses that for balance, and he drives more from the arms.
This is going to be fascinating tussle. They're going to make the final, these two. Barlam looks comfortable there. I just wonder if he is in contention when they come to the end of this 400, if he is going to have the speed to challenge the likes of Hugo Didier. We've got the 2 Australians due to take the start in the next heat as well. They're very strong. It's going to be fascinating in the final. These two will make it, I'm sure, Hugo Didier and Simone Barlam. 4:25 for the Frenchman. To take that one, looking comfortable in the closing stages. They're going to have a chat now, the two main contenders there. 3rd place was Frank Martinez, and 4th place the young German Maurice Vettekam, right up there at the top, who performed well in the breaststroke earlier on this week. But Didier and Barlam have both looked strong this week.
Yeah, they've come off the back of Tokyo, and their training has gone up another level. We talk about where these World Championships are positioned in the Paralympic cycle, and for various reasons athletes have taken time out, are missing from these championships. Some take an extended break, so they come to the championships but maybe don't swim the best that they can. But these two athletes have brought their A game here, and that's the flip of it. Sometimes people go to the Paralympics and it just incentivizes them to get straight back in, especially if they maybe haven't got the results that they wanted. And both of these athletes swam incredibly well in terms of their personal times and everything in Tokyo, but there were so many close battles that sometimes they maybe didn't end up with the colour medal that they were hoping for, so that then incentivized them as well.
Didier and Barlam will go through to that final with only 6 swimmers due to take the start in the 2nd heat, so they are guaranteed. Frank Martinez and Vettekam will have a close eye on this next heat. 2 yellow caps of Australia in the centre lanes. They belong to William Martin and Brendan Hall. Brendan Hall, still the world record holder, held that record since the Montreal World Championships of 2013. But Martin is the Paralympic champion, taking that Paralympic title ahead of Hugo Didier last year in Tokyo. But Brendan Hall's had a great record in this event, Liz.
Yeah, and this is an example of one of those events where a nation has just had a grip on it for a very long time. We talked about it earlier in the week in some of the women's S7 events. The United States of America have controlled that for a while, and Great Britain have always had a great presence in the S6 women's events. But this S9 400 freestyle, S4 900 freestyle, you know, maybe. But this S9 400 freestyle has belonged to Australia for an incredibly long time, and Brendan Hall was so dominant for so long. But William Martin, he had a fantastic debut Paralympic Games in Tokyo. He came in clear favourite for the 100 metres butterfly, but actually he delivered in this one as well and took the field by surprise.
Well, two Australians just side by side here. They will see that they should be comfortable qualification for them, but it's pretty close in the opening stages. The one kind of blip on the record of the Australians at all the championships has been the World Championship 2019 title, which went to Jacobo Garrido Brun of Spain, who goes in line number 3, and he is challenging the two Australians there. Not sure if that caption is correct on our screen, because we have the Spaniard going over in second position, and there he is. Jacobo Garrido Brun. It was something a little bit of an upset in those World Championships in 19. We didn't expect the Spaniard to challenge the great Brendan Hall on that occasion, but he absolutely did, and he took the title by just a couple of tenths of a second, and he's right in the mix here.
Yeah, it was such a close race, and it was the first time really that there was a chink in the armour of Brendan Hall, and the Spaniard will feel like there's an opportunity here, because we haven't seen Brendan Hall at these World Championships yet, so we'll see how he goes in the heat. But William Martin hasn't quite been able to replicate what he did in Tokyo, and Garrido Brun will take that as an opportunity. That will give him hope. He'll be like, I could do this again. And we can see here, nobody really getting away. The Australians are stroke for stroke at the head of that field, but there's only a body length in it at this turn. Hall just getting his feet to that touchpad first, Martin just behind, and it is Garrido Brun holding on to that third position at the moment.
Yeah, Barry McClements from Ireland in fourth place, had a good swim in the butterfly a couple of days ago, making his first major World Championship final, the Irish swimmer, and finishing just out of the medals in that butterfly in fourth position. The Irish have had a couple of good performances. Roisin Miriant with a couple of medals, also Nicole Turner as well, and their kind of big star, their gold medalist from Tokyo, Ellen Keane, yet to swim in her major event. That's later on in the week. So a good performance so far from the Irish, and a good performance here from the Australians. They are almost in formation here as they go down with, well, coming up to the final turn.
Yeah, and they're looking very comfortable here. They will have had the advantage of seeing what Ugo Didier and Simone Barlam did in that first heat, and that is the bonus of going in the second heat. But as we've talked about throughout the week, sometimes it can have the adverse effect, and if someone swims better than you were expecting, then it can set you off your game plan. But not here. These Australians know exactly what they're doing. They've come in to the plan, and it is now Will Martin who's starting to forge ahead. He wants to take the touch so that he'll have a good lane draw for tonight.
Yeah, he's looking good. Jacobo Garrido Brun just coming back in the closing stages. He wants to be in the centre lanes. I think the Spanish swimmer just going to pit Brendan Hall. He's not going to catch Martin. Not sure if Jacobo Garrido Brun's lane times are registering there, because he definitely finished in second place. But Martin takes that one in 4:26.98. And that's just shy of the time set by Didier and Barlam in that first heat. Brendan Hall in third place behind Jacobo Garrido Brun. Sam de Visser had a good swim, the Belgian swimmer there, to finish just ahead of Barry McClements, but I think they'll both make it into the final. So the main contenders look like they're going to be through, Liz.
Yeah.
Aussie's looking strong in that second heat.
Well, Will Martin finished very well there, but so did Jacobo Garrido Brun. He showed he's got a bit of speed at the end, brought it back, got a good position, because it will come down tonight. All of these athletes, whilst they've all got the same capability in terms of time pretty much, they swim this race so differently, and it'll be about having your lane and focusing on your race plan.
Jacobo Garrido Brun splits the two Australians. We finish in first and third position. Sam de Visser and Barry McClements, that might be good enough for them to advance to the final. We shall see right now. Here we have it. The Frenchman leads the way ahead of the Italian. Two Australians will be in that final. Two Spanish swimmers as well, the Belgian and the Irishman. Looking forward to that one already, Liz.
Yeah, it'll get us off through it. So we've had some brilliant 400 meters freestyles in the final sessions this week so far, and both of those are promising to follow suit, the men's and the women's.
I like a 400 freestyle. Tactics coming into play.
Yeah, because it can look like it's sewn up, can't it? And then the person who's got the really strong finish can just come back from nothing, especially if you go out too hard.
Oh, we saw Garrido Brun there. Hugo Didier, well, he is going to come through strong at the end. Move down the distance now. It's the women's 100 metres butterfly for the S10 class. S10, of course, the swimmers with minimal impairments, minimal physical impairments. Michaela Jenkins goes in lane number 4. She is the world and Paralympic champion. Next to the European champion, Alicia Scortacchini from Italy. There's Scortacchini. Took that title last year in a very close contest with Olivia Jaborska of Poland, who goes in the second heat. But Michaela Jenkins has almost made this 100 butterfly her own on the international stage in recent years. That's Maria Paula Barreta Zapata, silver medalist in the 50 freestyle at these championships, the Colombian. She goes in lane number 3. Jenkins in 4. Scortacchini with the blue cap of Italy in lane number 5.
Yeah, and it's Scortacchini that gets off to a very, very good start, along with Barrera Zapata of Colombia in lane 3. But Michaela Jenkins of the United States of America, she always comes through strongly. As the length goes, she gets more powerful. She has the disadvantage off the start and the turn, but then she makes up ground as the swimming gets underway, and she will turn first. 31.86. Barrera Zapata in second, and Scortacchini in third.
Jenkins just leading the two swimmers on either side of her, who are battling it out for the second position. But Jenkins again trying to continue this good run of the USA team that they're having at these championships, and she's looking good here, coming down towards the finish now. Scortacchini just trying to come back. She's gone ahead of the Colombian, but it is going to be Michaela Jenkins will get this one. And 100 butterfly in the S10 classification has seen some very close contests in recent years, and Michaela Jenkins has been the one who's been on the right side of those close finishes.
Yeah, and she's got a really good time there for the morning, just dipping under that 110, 109.984 Jenkins. She's got about a second more in her as her fastest time of the year this year, but she'll know that there's some firepower in that second heat, and she's sent out a message. She looked comfortable, as we see now, just coming into finish in lane 1, Devanshi Satija and she'll touch there in a time of 1:46.88 for India.
Our main contenders in the centre of the pool: Michaela Jenkins, Alicia Scortacchini and Barrera Zapata. In fact, it's a tie for second place, Liz. 1:11.86 for the two swimmers in second. No doubt about the winner there, Michaela Jenkins. She will be certainly one of the favourites for this title tonight. Great battle in the World Championships in 2019 with Scortacchini. The American just taking that touch. And here we see it, two swimmers coming in together, both kind of finishing differently, one under the water, one on top of the water, but they all finished exactly the same time, with Lily Fox-Mason from New Zealand in 4th position, giving herself a chance of making another final, the young New Zealander. Second heat sees Jasmine Greenwood from Australia in the middle lane. Lisa Kruger, who's had a very successful week so far, she goes in lane number 5. The young Hungarian Kasenga Hots in lane 6, who picked up a surprise medal in the 400 freestyle, the 13-year-old. There's Jasmine Greenwood. She again has performed really well, a couple of bronze medals to her name in the individual medley and in the 50 freestyle. Olivia Jablonska is that former world and Paralympic medalist from Poland. She will be a threat going in lane 3. Lisa Kruger, former European champion. We're thinking this morning, Lisa Kruger back to that great butterfly swim that she had, and it was back in 2018 at the European Championship. Seems like yesterday.
Yeah, and she was surprised herself to win there, but she's going strongly here, as is Jasmine Greenwood of Australia, the World Championship bronze medalist there in that yellow cap in the left of your screen. She's shown some great speed here this week, picking up medals in the sprint freestyle, and on the individual medley, she went out very, very strongly indeed in the butterfly, showing what she's capable of. She turns first, 31.77, just 0.3 ahead of Lisa Kruger, and Olivia Jablonska was in third at the turn.
Yeah, great underwater work with that yellow cap of Jasmine Greenwood. Just a forger ahead of Lisa Kruger at the turn. She's swimming very much on form, Jasmine Greenwood, and she is going to bring them home. Another good performance by the young Hungarian down here in lane number 6, challenging for second or third position. Greenwood takes it though. Jablonska in second and Kruger in third, just holding off the challenge of Kasinga Holtz. But those top 4 should qualify for that final comfortably. And that time for Greenwood is slightly faster than we saw in the first heat for Michaela Jenkins. So Greenwood should be fastest into that final. And again, the Australian looking really good.
Yeah, and again with this second heat, the experienced athletes not having to give too much away. We saw them on that second 50. Jablonska came through very, very well. The 400 freestyle specialist always has the endurance at the second half of the races, and she came through to get the touch. But Jasmine Greenwood is again an example of an athlete who seems to just have taken her experience at the Paralympic Games and moved it on in this season, and she'll be setting herself up for, she'll fancy her chances tonight against Michaela Jenkins.
Yeah, why not? She's in great form there, and she wins that heat comfortably in the end, ahead of Olivia Jablonska of Poland and Lisa Kruger of the Netherlands. Another great swim from the 13-year-old Hungarian in 4th position. I think those top 4 should qualify for the final. I think it's going to be 4 from heat 1 and 4 from heat 2 to make it through. Jasmine Greenwood leads the way ahead of Jenkins. Jablonska, Kruger in 3rd and 4th, and the young New Zealander, the 17-year-old Lily Fox-Mason, makes it in 8th position. Scorta Keeney there, Liz in 7th place, but she'll be in an outside lane, lane 1, but she'll still be a threat.
Yeah, and we've seen some great swims from outside lanes throughout the week in the final sessions, and you can't be ruled out just because you're not in those centre lanes.
Now the men's S10 swimmers are out now for their 2 heats. We have 6 swimmers due to take the start in heat 1 and 6 taking the start in heat number 2. Cole Pearce from Australia, bronze medalist at the World Championships and at the Paralympic Games last year. And he goes in lane number 4. Already a medalist at these championships, Pearce. Took that silver medal in the individual medley. Either side of him, the experienced David Levesque of Spain in his 8th World Championship here. In the early stages, he had very fast finishes, taking a medal in the 400 freestyle, just missing out in the IM.
Yeah, and Pearce leads Levesque by 5/100ths of a second at the turn. The Australian turn in there in 27.57. Spaniard always had good front end speed. You'd expect Cole Pearce would try and move it along in this final quarter of this 100 meters butterfly. The yellow hat now coming to the forefront, but going very well. It is still Levesque and Alex Elliott of Canada.
Cole Pearce is going to take it. clearly ahead of 3 swimmers following him in. Alex Elliott actually gets the 2nd position. Alan Ogorzalek from Poland in 3rd place, just 8/100ths ahead of David Levesque of Spain. 58.32 though for Cole Pearce, just 0.3 of a second outside his best time of the year for him. And there's Alex Elliott, and Alan Ogorzalek will be pleased to get the touch there for 3rd ahead of Levesque.
Yeah, Ogorzalek there had a superb final stroke. He just launched into the wall and overhauled David Levesque in that it was literally in the final stroke. But Cole Pearce looked very, very comfortable there for Australia. They all took it out pretty much together down that first 50 metres, but the touch positions can become important in this first heat.
Yeah, the top 4 were away and clear of the others. There's Cole Pearce, a body length or so ahead. Oh, there's the finish there for Ogorzalek. 8/100ths of a second separating him and David Levesque at the end. Alex Elliott, another good swim from the Canadian. Into 2nd position, 4 swimmers under the 1 minute mark. I wonder if that is going to be a cut-off point to make that top 8. One more heat to come, some big names in this one.
Heat 2.
We see Stefano Raimondi again, the Italian. What a busy programme the Italian has. He's already won 3 gold medals here at these championships and a bronze in the 50 freestyle. But Raimondi will be hoping to add another title here. He's got to qualify for the final first. Silver medalist at the World Champs and at the Paralympic Games, the Italian. And the youngster Alex Safi with that yellow cap of Australia. He's 2nd in the world rankings this year. The youngster has made a big impact at these championships already.
Yeah, and he gave us an insight into what he's capable of in this butterfly. In the 200-metre individual medley, he took it out very quickly indeed. He's got his international classification now, so he's graduated to this Australian team. But he's got some work to do down this 2nd 50. Great Britain's comeback kid, James Hollis, going well there down that first 50 metres. That white cap closest to us, he got back in the water to try and qualify for the Commonwealth Games and surprised himself by making his team. But Stefano Raimondi in that blue cap, looking very comfortable and controlled to take this 2nd heat.
It's going to be tight for 2nd behind Raimondi. Alex Safi comes through strongly ahead of Hollis. The first 4 again are under the 1 minute mark. Menciotti, the 4th swimmer home. A very good swim there for James Hollis, as you said, making his comeback. Last time we've seen him at a major international was back in 2014 at European Championships. It's great to see him back.
Yeah, and there's that man, Alex Safi. We said he had some work to do on that 2nd 50, but that is going to give him extreme confidence. And as we say, in the heats, people use different tactics, and often you see athletes go out very quickly down to 50 and then knock it off, a bit like Stefano Raimondi did. He worked the first 50 so then he could be comfortable in the 2nd 50, and other times you see athletes wanting to test the second half of their race, and it looked to be that that's what Safi was doing, because at this point he was quite far down, but that finish, the way he cut through that field in the closing stages, that's going to give them, the athletes, something to think about.
He didn't get away too well in comparison to the rest of the field. Alex Safi was behind off the start, but he is behind Raimondi, and only Raimondi at the end. James Hollis, a good swim for 3rd position. Menciotti will make it through into that final. Raimondi, you have to say, Liz, looked very comfortable there at the front of the field. He will start as the favourite. Cole Pearce and Alex Safi, 2 Australians in 2nd and 3rd. Great swim in the heats for Great Britain's James Hollis. David Levesque makes it into another major final. All the finalists under that 1 minute mark. It should be another cracking race. Raimondi, Cole Pearce probably will be the favourites for that one. We expect them to step it up, but could go absolutely anywhere again.
Yeah, we'll be in a real tussle for maybe a place on that podium, but both Pearce and Raimondi looked supremely comfortable when they finished and looked at the clock. It was like, yep, job done. and there was a bit of a glint in their eye, especially for Cole Pierce. He really looked like he felt like he could step it on tonight.
Well, the next
Please welcome the athletes of the
heats
next
are due on pretty soon. We've just got to wait for the appointed start time before the swimmers come out for their heats. And it's a 50 freestyle S4. Again, we've seen the swimmers in the S9 and S10 classes. Swimmers with minimal impairments. We're down in the S4 classes now, so these swimmers in this class have more severe impairments than the ones we've seen already this morning. 2 Israelis go in 3 and 4. Omer Dadon had a great Paralympic Games in Tokyo last year. Taking a couple of gold medals, he'll be looking to try and take another medal here at the World Championships. He's the Paralympic champion in this one. Next to him is a European silver medalist, Luigi Beggiato, who was behind Dadon at the European Championships last year. Italian team, the great championships. Jo Gi-sung from Korea, hoping to add to their medal tally. Got 1 silver medal so far, the Korean team. Jo Gi-sung had a fantastic Rio Paralympic Games, taking 3 gold medals, all in the freestyle events in this classification. We haven't seen much of Dadon in the freestyle events already this week. We have seen him in the individual medley where he took that gold medal performance earlier in the week, and he's just playing a little bit catch up in the early stages there. He's behind Ariel Malyar, his teammate, and Mats Topkin.
Yeah, Ariel Malyar got off to a good start, as did Mats Topkin of Estonia at the top of that shot, swimming there on his back. But now it is the strength of Omer Dadon that starts to come through in lane 4 to head this one into the wall.
It could be Israel 1 and 2 in this heat. It's a real battle for 3rd position there. Dadon takes it, Malyar in 2nd, Beggiato just getting the touch ahead of Jo Gi-sung. With 5th position, Great Britain's Lyndon Longhorn. And 6th, Mats Topkin of Estonia. We didn't get away too well there, Dadon. I don't know if there was a problem, maybe slipped off the wall or something at the start. He seemed to be playing a little bit of catch-up as they went through there.
Yeah, he often comes through strongly to finish very well, and he builds through the races. We see that in some of his other events, but not normally faces that much of a deficit off the start. So he made up for it though. He looked strong. He's swimming again. He's swimming with confidence. He's coming in off a great 2021. He had a good year last year, and like really came to the forefront and really continued to develop on the work that he'd been doing in the previous years, and looking strong there.
Yeah, big improvement there from Ariel Malyar as well in terms of position. 41.31 for his Israeli competitor. Omer Dadon takes that one ahead of his teammate, and Luigi Beggiato in 3rd place ahead of Jo Gi-sung. And again in this S4 class, Liz, saw a range of starts. Some swimmers going from the water, some swimmers going from the blocks. World record holder Cameron Leslie from New Zealand, world champion back in 2019. He'll be one of those ones that will go from the blocks.
Yep, him and Taka Suzuki in the lane next to him. They have very similar starts sitting down, but you'll see Anos Petracek in lane 6, Czech Republic. He will look to get the best start here.
There's one swimmer in the water, that was McGill Luki, but there is that start of Petracek using that underwater style that he has. He won the backstroke yesterday, a great battle between him and Cameron Leslie, but Leslie and Suzuki now forging ahead.
Yeah, and Leslie has been in emphatic form on his return to international competition. This world record is from earlier in this year, so we know he's got the speed, and he's surprising himself every time he gets in the water, but looking incredibly strong here.
Very strong indeed. Keep an eye on the clock here. 37.02 for Leslie, and he has taken it in the heat. 36.75. Cameron Leslie has taken a world record in the heats, and if that doesn't send a message to the rest of the field, I don't know what does. Wow, what a swim in these morning heats. The first world record that we've seen in the morning. Taka Suzuki, good time for him in second, but he was blown away by the New Zealander.
Yeah, Leslie, we said he was in good form. And when in April, when he broke the world record, he wasn't even fully rested. And you come into these major championships, you've rested up, you've shaved down, you are in the shape of your life. And in a 50, you can't. If you're going well, you can't really slow it down too much. These athletes don't have the leg kick to turn on or off. And so Cameron Leslie, he went with that feeling. He looked really strong, and the first person ever to dip under that 37-second barrier.
Oh, what a great swim there. Taka Suzuki did challenge the New Zealander the early part of that one. That was a 50-metre mark, and this is the last 5 metres. Look at Cameron Leslie here, just finishing absolutely perfectly there. Finishing on it, his longer arm. He's got impairments in his arms as well, but it's very important for these swimmers with the arm impairments to finish on that long arm at the finish, and Cameron Leslie did an absolutely perfect job there. Cameron Leslie of New Zealand takes a world record in the morning heat ahead of Taka Suzuki and Camacho Ramirez of Mexico. He will advance to the final in pole position. 36.75 for the New Zealander. What a swim there.
Yeah, he looked incredible. He looked strong. And one other thing is he looks really happy to be here. And we always say a happy swimmer is a fast swimmer. And he made the tough decision to sit out Tokyo last year. And he's just got that added incentive now that he's back in international waters.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, hasn't he, Cameron Leslie?
Yep, first World
32 years of age.
2006 first World Championship for Cam Leslie. The New Zealanders are bringing through a new crop, but he is definitely leading the way with his experience.
Well, next event is the women's 50 metres freestyle in the S8 classification. Again, one length of the pool, and we only have one heat for this one. 9 swimmers in that heat, so we only have to lose one.
This is heat 1.
Cecilia Geronimo de Araujo, Paralympic Games silver medalist last year. And she's been on good form this week. We've seen her come to the fore in a couple of these close races. She took the bronze medal in the 100 freestyle yesterday. We're looking to go a couple better here with that yellow cap of Brazil in lane number 4. Next to her is Catarina Denisenko in lane number 3, and the blue cap of Xenia Francesca Palazzo, who won the 100 yesterday, in lane 5.
And Geronimo de Araujo did lead out that 100 metres, but it was a fast finishing Italian that got the touch in a very close battle. But here they're having that battle again as they come into the final stages.
Yeah, it's all going to be down to the touch here. Maybe the Italian, is it? Yeah, just 5/100ths of a second for Palazzo, just as she did in the 100 yesterday, coming through in the latter stages of this one. Geronimo de Araujo in second position, and Abby Tripp of Canada in third place. Good swim from the Canadian out there in lane number 6. Denisenko from Ukraine in fourth position, and the young Polish swimmer, the 15-year-old youngest in the field, Nikola Badowska, she goes in fifth position. There's the Chilean swimmer, Munoz Morena. She might be the one to miss out on the final.
We'll get lane 4.
Well, it was the Brazilian that got off to the best start, but she didn't enjoy as much of an advantage as she normally does. And Palazzo in that blue hat having a an amazing meet here this week. Came through very, very strongly to take the touch, but 9 athletes only needed to drop one, so those centre lanes could swim a controlled heat.
Yeah, Palazzo 5/100s ahead of Geronimo De Araujo, with Abby Tripp in second position, all the way down to Mira Jean Mack from Germany. Will make it into that final. Palazzo and Geronimo De Araujo set to continue that rivalry that we saw yesterday in the 100. With Palazzo taking that, the Brazilian taking the bronze medal yesterday. Is it going to be different tonight? Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to come back for that final session as we move on to the men's race in the S8 classification. Again, we see the returning champion from yesterday in the 100, and that's Dimos Michelintakis of Greece. He goes in lane number 4. 2 Spanish swimmers in this one. Mikhail Golas from Poland as well, a former European champion. Right there in lane number 3.
Well, Michelintakis will be looking to try and do the double. He's the world champion in this event in London in 2019. This was the event that didn't get contested at the Tokyo Paralympic Games. So he'll be looking for effectively back-to-back global titles. There is Sergio Martos Mingue of Spain. He'll be looking to challenge the Greek.
He goes in lane number 5. Michelintakis, centre lane in lane number 4. Watch out for Mikhail Golas, that red cap of Poland. He's very fast in the sprints. He's the world record holder in 50 metres butterfly, and as a one-armed swimmer, butterfly and freestyle, very similar strokes.
Yeah, and he got off to a good start, but it is that white cap of Michelintakis that is coming through. But Golas currently holding on for second. It'll be tight between him and the Spaniard.
Yeah, just an extra stroke there for Mikhail Golas, just behind Michelintakis. 27.23 for the Greek. Michelintakis takes it. Golas in second place in 27.82. Martos Mingue in third place for Spain. Michelintakis doesn't look fazed by that at all, not even breathing heavily as he's touching the wall, as we saw him at the end.
Yeah, he was dominant. He came through, he used to swim in the S9 category, he was dominant in that as well. And as you said, he's a great butterfly swimmer. Had a bit of disappointment in the butterfly here this week with a disqualification, but he's bounced back for these freestyle events. And as you said, very similar strokes for those one-arm swimmers in the butterfly and the freestyle, but the freestyle just allows them to have a bit more control over their breathing pattern, and we saw that there very strong from him this morning. Yeah. Golas will be pleased though.
Yeah, he certainly will be. He should qualify for the final. 27.82 for the Polish swimmer. That's the fastest time that he has gone this year. First time under the 28-second mark this year for the Polish swimmer. But Michelintakis comfortable there. 27.23 for the Greek swimmer. As we go on to this second heat. So 7 swimmers taking the start for this second heat. And Gabriel Cristiano Silva de Souza in the middle lane in lane number 4. He has had a good couple of days, a couple of bronze medals. He's never made the podium at major international championships before. 2 bronze medals in a day for the Brazilian.
And he always gets a powerful start, and you can see that straight arm swim there. It's a slower stroke than some of the other athletes use, but it's a powerful stroke, and you can see him forging ahead into this final, and he looks like he will take out this second heat.
He certainly does. Real power there from the Brazilian ahead of a group of 5 swimmers almost. Felix Cowan from Canada getting in second position, 28.11. In third place, Andrade Guillen of Mexico. Fourth place, Amadeo. And fifth place, Semyonovs. It's very, very close indeed in that second heat. No doubt about the winner, but it was tight for the minor places there.
Yeah, know, we've been treated to some very close blanket finishes there. You can see there is Silva de Souza. He holds his breath on that freestyle. He swims with his head under the water, so even though it was 50 meters, even though it looked comfortable, still going to be breathing heavily at the end of that one.
Yeah, he was off to a good start, and he was away and clear, almost a body length ahead of the rest of the field, and such a good technique. Brazilian really hitting that wall well on a full stroke. He was followed home there by Felix Cowan, a great swim from the Canadian. He should qualify for the final on that one. Silva de Souza takes it. Felix Cowan almost a second behind the Canadian. From the Brazilian, Andrade Guillen in third, Amadeo in fourth, Semyonovs in fifth, just 8/100ths ahead of Malaji of India, and Semyonovs makes it into the final. Silva de Souza will lead the way though, ahead of Michelin-Zakis and ahead of Golas. Another close race in prospect tonight.
Don't forget, it's important to wear your mask at all times, over your nose and your mouth. And don't forget, if you want to tweet, you can use the hashtag Madeira 2022.
Move on to the visually impaired races now. As you see the mascot, Liz, Poncha. We found the name out yesterday.
I was thinking I've seen him somewhere before. He's actually very similar to the mascot back from Eindhoven, the World Championships in 2010. Do you remember that one? It was a dolphin.
Vaguely.
I'll see if I can dig out a picture later.
I'm normally quite good on mascots.
You love a mascot, don't you?
Yeah. I haven't seen much of Poncha actually. Well, I see him on the poolside. I can see him maybe once a day. He's not.
To be fair, it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. If
it's pretty hot.
To be out on poolside.
He did spoil it. We can see a little bit behind the scenes here from our vantage point there, and he spoiled the illusion when he took his head off behind those big screens.
And now you've told the whole world.
Sorry.
Oh, Paul. Sorry, people. Sorry.
No.
Let's get back to the swimming.
Two Brazilians here in the middle lanes. It's the S12 class. There's Maria Carolina Gomez Santiago. She's had great championships, hasn't she?
She has, and she doesn't often find herself in the first heat, but her and Anastasenko, who goes in the second heat, have exactly the same entry time here. But it is Gomez Santiago, is the Paralympic and defending world champion.
It's the S12 class, swimmers with visual impairment, partial vision. It's 100 freestyle, and she's another one. Maria Carolina Gomez Santiago's been just come through the ranks in the Brazilian team in recent years, hasn't she? Prior to that World Champs, I think in 2019.
Yeah, we were talking, she's been a real find for them. She hasn't actually done a full 4-year cycle in para swimming yet, which is what we call it a Paralympic cycle, but she started in the middle. And she's going well here, but so is her compatriot, Lucilene de Silva de Souza. One lane up from her, and it's de Silva de Souza that leads at the turn. 30.16. Gomez Santiago just 7/100ths behind, and Alessia Berra in third position at the turn on a 30.37.
Silva de Souza was the bronze medalist in the 50 freestyle. It's behind Gomez Santiago and behind Hannah Russell, and Alessia Berra with that blue cap of Italy coming through really strongly. She had a good first day of competition, Alessia Berra. She might just take this one even. Ooh, 5/100ths behind the Brazilian. Maria Carolina Gomez Santiago will take that one in 1:02.93. We know that she's capable of much faster, but Alessia Berra looked good in the closing stages there.
Yeah, Alessia Berra looked very, very strong there. Silva de Souza holding on for that third position, but Gomez Santiago in your shot at the moment. She's had an extremely heavy program. She put in a phenomenal leg on the relay last night to give the Brazilians a fighting chance of that gold medal, which they won when it came down to the wire. So this morning heat is all about progressing through to the final. If you've got a lane, you've got a chance, as we always say. Doesn't matter which lane it is, the waters are all the same. Sometimes you want to be in the middle so you can tactically see your opponents, but obviously in the S12 category for these athletes with visual impairments, that isn't quite such a priority. And there you can see that tight finish, and Berra looked like she had it, didn't she?
She did. She finished strongly in the fly as well, so becoming a regular occurrence here, coming through strong in the closing stages there. And it's the S12 class, of course, like some of the swimmers having a tapper and some of them not.
Yeah, the S12 category's got the biggest range of vision, so sometimes people stay in this classification just because they don't want to wear the blacked out goggles, but they can't see very much at all.
It's an option to use the tapper, and the Brazilians chose to do that, and they finished first and third in that first heat. Second heat, Anna Stetsenko and Hannah Russell in the middle lanes. There's Hannah Russell, the Paralympic Games bronze medalist last year in Tokyo. Anna Stetsenko, she swam in the S13 classification in the Tokyo Games last year, took gold in the 400 freestyle. She's moved down into the S12s this year, but a good start from Hannah Russell there in lane number 5. She's been in good form here at these championships, taking a silver in the 50 freestyle, taking gold in the 100 back.
Yeah, we've talked about athletes taking time out, and Hannah Russell took out the 2019 season to just reset and get herself in the best shape to swim, and we've seen her every time she enters the water at the moment. She's just getting better and better, chipping away towards those personal best times, and that tall figure of Russell has let it out, but you can see Stetsenko fighting to get back on level terms with the Brits, but it looks like Hannah Russell has done enough.
Yes, Stetsenko, very powerful swimmer, as I said, took the gold in the 400 freestyle, very strong at the end there for Stetsenko, but Hannah Russell just holds on to take that one in 101.75. Stetsenko second, 0.4 of a second behind her, and Delgado Nadal from Spain should be good enough to qualify for the top 8 and to make it into that final. And that's the fastest time of the 2 heats for Hannah Russell and Anna Stetsenko as well, faster than Maria Carolina Gomez Santiago. So those two should be in the centre lanes for tonight.
Well, that is going to set up for another exciting battle. Stetsenko is such a strong second half swimmer. In the past in her career, she's had great front end speed in the 50s as well. So she's got it all to challenge Hannah Russell and Gomez Santiago. And the question is, can anyone dethrone the Brazilian?
The Brazilian was very controlled in that first heat. There's no way that anyone would write her off for that final tonight. Hannah Russell, though, should lead the way for the qualifiers. 101.75 for the Great Britain swimmer. Stetsenko in second position. Delgado Nadal should make it through. Not sure if it's going to be good enough for Cornel Leach to make it into that final. It isn't. Russell leads the way. Stetsenko, Gomez Santiago, Berra looked strong. Well, again, could be another close contest. Another women's event coming up now. Saw a lot of men's events yesterday in the heat sessions. Quite a few women's events this morning.
Yeah, just again, it's the way it falls, isn't it? Some of them, a lot of the men's events, especially in this S12 category, progressing straight to final without the need for heats to narrow it down to get those 8 swimmers.
Moving on to the medley event. We like a medley event, Liz.
We do, I'm not sure the officials do. A lot can happen in these individual medley events.
Yeah, we had one of the officials visit us this morning, and it's a long programme. He says, oh, it's going to be a good morning for us. So why is that? He says, a lot of freestyle. Not much can go wrong in the freestyle. A lot can go wrong in the medley, though.
Hopefully not today.
There are the swimmers for the first heat. Louise Fides, Paralympic Games bronze medalist for Great Britain. She's in that middle lane. Pernilla Lindberg, who won this title back in 2017. Nice Louise Fides. She's safe to say, Liz, she's had an up and down week. Louise Fides so far. Very good 200 freestyle. She's disappointed with her 100 breaststroke, which has been her #1 event over the last few years.
Yeah, but a lot of these S14 athletes do have a diverse program, and we've seen it with other swimmers in the past where one of their events maybe isn't going as well, the one that they typically are well known for, but they manage to come through and pull it out of the bag in a different one, and that's what Fides did with that 200 meters freestyle at the start of the week. But she'll look to bounce back from that breaststroke disappointment. She's leading here after the first length of fly, 32.21 for her. And looking comfortable. She'll try and work that breaststroke because it is a weapon for her in this individual medley. But it's all about the final. It's getting through this, getting a lane, and it's all getting pretty close here at the moment.
It absolutely is. Coming through strongly with that yellow cap is Pernilla Lindberg. We saw her come through very strongly in the 200 freestyle. Try and challenge for the medals earlier in the week. Louise Fides was in first place after the butterfly, and she's going to be behind everyone as they go into the breaststroke. But this is where Louise Fides needs to make up the distance in the individual medley, and she's going to have to do the same again. Hitting the front was Kajol Mata from Thailand, right down here in lane number 6, and wonder if Louise Fides now can charge through the field as we've seen her in the past. This is a great heat, this one.
Yeah, and you can see now Fides already closing that gap. Sometimes for the breaststroke, it's good to be chasing because it encourages you to have a long, strong stroke to use that power. And she's got back on level terms with everybody there except Pernilla Lindberg, the Swede, who will be leading into the final 50 meters.
Now Pernilla Lindberg will be seeing this as a great chance for her to claim another World Championship medal. She won that title back in 2017, and Louise Fides has used the breaststroke to her advantage now, coming through into second. 6 swimmers in the second heat, so the top 2 guaranteed to qualify. Pernilla Lindberg working hard there, going to the feet there, the Swede in that yellow cap.
Yeah, Lindberg sensing the opportunity to take this heat, this victory here, and she's going to hold on. Fides looked comfortable down the last stages of that freestyle, and Mami Inkyu of Japan, who started very well, turned well on the backstroke. She came through to take the 3rd position there in heat number 1.
Well, looks like the 3rd spot just given to the Thai swimmer there, Liz. Just the times ticking over. Kajol Mata.
It's true, they keep updating these times.
They do. So the order slightly changed there, but Pernilla Lindberg guaranteed that top spot, guaranteed a place in the final if this result is official, which we think it is. And it was, well, we like to see an individual medley where things changed about, and they changed about a lot there. Pernilla Lindberg right down in 5th place after the butterfly, moving up to 4th at the end of the backstroke, and Louise Fides dropped from 1st to 5th, then back again to 2nd. Oh, it was all over the place.
Yeah, but Pernilla Lindberg will take a lot of confidence for that, but then so will Louise Fides. She'll bounce back from that breaststroke. Her breaststroke in that medley looked a lot more comfortable than it did in the individual event.
And Lindberg takes that one around about a second ahead of Louise Fides. Kajol Mata confirmed in 3rd spot for Thailand. Mami Inui from Japan in 4th place. Well, good chance of making that final. 2 more Great Britain swimmers in lanes 4 and 5 in this second heat. Both experienced campaigners. Bethany Firth and Jessica Jane Applegate, both members of that Great Britain relay team that we saw took gold last night in the 4x100 metres S14 freestyle relay.
It will be Bethany Firth, Paralympic Games silver medalist, that comes in as the pre-race favourite for this one. But on the left of your screen, Paige Leonhardt of Australia has been having a very, very impressive World Championships. Jessica Jane Applegate, she does favour the first half of this medley. You can see there in the red cap, she's just turning third, but only 6 100ths separating the first three after that butterfly leg. Firth will look to use her favoured backstroke to open up some of a gap, and then when we move on to the breaststroke, expect Paige Leonhardt to make her move. But Bethany Firth, the reason that she's the pre-race favourite is because she does have 4 very, very strong strokes.
She does, got a great record in the backstroke as well at the Paralympic Games. She represented Ireland at the Paralympic Games in 2012, winning gold in the backstroke. She moved across to the Great Britain team in time for the Paralympic Games in 2016, and she's taken gold in the backstroke 2016 and in Tokyo last year. Very strong breaststroker as well, as you can see, stretching away from Jessica Jane Applegate. Paige Leonhardt, as you thought, Liz, just coming back into contention now with that yellow cap of Australia, just challenging Applegate for second position. But Bethany Firth way and clear of the rest of the field. She did win Paralympic Games in 2016. She was the most decorated Great Britain athlete at those games in 2016, and she's continued to perform well on the world stage.
Yeah, and she recently got married, so her preparation has been a bit more relaxed this year, as we've talked about, for a World Championships after a Paralympics. But she's in a commanding position here, and she's slowly stroking home. Now she knows that she's done enough. Very different, this one, to the first heat rather. But you can see there Jessica Jane Applegate and Paige Leonhardt in a tussle for the second position, but it will be Bethany Firth that takes this heat.
And she takes it 2:28.37, so significantly faster than that first heat. In fact, all the top 3 swimmers are faster than heat number 1. So Firth, Applegate just ahead of Leonhardt. Coronado Tejeda as well might be good enough to make the final, maybe just missing out actually for the Spanish swimmer. It's going to be close, but Leonhardt, Applegate and Firth swam that well, and they will be 3 of the favourites as they come to the final. Bethany Firth will start as favourite for this title.
Yeah, and she looked very, very comfortable there. And she's having a great meet, she's a swimmer that just gains more confidence as the meet goes on, and that's the thing when you've got a busy program. Quite often the results from one event can impact the next, and athletes all across all the program work very hard on being able to deal with one event in isolation, park that result and move on to the next one. But it is when you are on the crest of a wave and you're swimming well, then of course that can only be a good thing to use as motivation moving forward.
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier this week. You get a good result early on. If you've got a heavy program throughout the week, it builds confidence. If you don't get the results early in the week, it increases the pressure. But Bethany Firth very much on a high at these championships. 2 gold medals already, and few would bet against her to add another one tonight. Jessica Jane Applegate may well have other ideas. She is right next to her teammate. 3 Great Britain swimmers will progress to that final. There'll be more yellow caps in that one. Paige Leonhardt and Pernilla Lindberg as well, the Swede and the Australian, will go into the final as well with hopes of a medal. Move on to the men's event as well, Liz, and these S14 men's races have been absolutely brilliant this week.
Yeah, there's really been a bit of a change of the guard, and there's a lot more athletes from a lot more countries getting involved in this one, and we're seeing it. It's just bringing the best out of all of the athletes.
And the S14 class is swimmers with an intellectual impairment. So quite often, you know, the tactics may well, that's something that the S14 swimmers struggle with. race tactics. So quite often we see some very, very fast swims in the heats.
We do, and we'll see some very fast swims in the first half of the race, and then they won't quite manage to able to back that up because they just hear the word race, they hear the start signal, and they go. And so a lot of the time they get that all of their information that they come into the race before they leave their coach, and so then they don't necessarily have the opportunity to respond to what other athletes are doing around them.
Week is Gabriel Bandeira of Brazil. We first saw him right here in Madeira last year, made his debut at the European Open Championships. Taken gold medal in the 200 freestyle earlier this week, silver medal in the backstroke, and great start from the Brazilian there. Just looks really, really smooth. His technique's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, and he broke the butterfly world record of over the 100 metres just last month. But he is an example of one of those athletes we were just talking about. He went into the Paralympic Games as pre-race favourite in a lot of the events, but his tactics didn't work out for him and he couldn't respond to the way that the other athletes are swimming. And what we're seeing here at this World Championships is that isn't happening. He's obviously worked on something with his coaching team because he is in emphatic form, and how he's delivering in a race is reflecting the speed that he has in the training pool. But going very, very well. Down at the bottom of the screen is Dmitry Vanzenko in lane 7. He's having a great backstroke leg. He's overhauled, as has Cameron Vernicombe of Great Britain on his debut for the British team in senior events. A great backstroke there for him, turning second by half a second.
Yeah, Cameron Vernicombe has visited us a couple of times here in the commentary position to say hello. It's good to see him at the major competition. We've seen him at the domestic meets in the UK over the years. Great to see him make the step up to the international stage. Nicholas Bennett coming through well with that black cap of Canada. Very good in the 200 freestyle. Kind of took us a bit by surprise, the Canadian. And he hits the front as they go into the freestyle leg, and Canadian has come through very strongly on that breaststroke. Bandeira, that yellow cap of Brazil, I wonder if he will try and pull back the deficit.
Yeah, the Canadian athlete has really stepped up at this championships. He's had strong finishes in all of the events that we've seen him swim so far, and he'll be one of those athletes who's just swimming on the wave of confidence, and he's going to take this one out comfortably.
Yeah, looking very strong, Nicholas Bennett. He comes in 2:11.40. Excellent swim for the Canadian there. Bandeira in second position. Third place just goes to Vanzenko. Just 0.1 of a second ahead of Cameron Vernicombe. But smile on the face of Nicholas Bennett. No wonder. Great swim from him. Does top the world rankings this year. That's only about a second of the time that he did back in April in his native Canada. But he's been a real revelation for us, Nicholas Bennett, here at these championships.
Yeah, he's swum incredibly well, and the Canadians have brought a very big team. They're reaping the rewards of that. They've invested time in finding a bigger squad across more classification groups, and the swimmers are repaying them with impressive performances.
Yeah, Bennett was the gold medalist at the Pan American Games back in 2019. Finalist in Tokyo last year, but this is a real step up for him this year.
Yeah, and we keep talking about how post-Paralympic Games goes two ways. You either take a rest or you go full throttle, and Bennett looks like an athlete who's done the latter.
Well, he certainly did in that heat. Bandeira looked relaxed in the closing stages of that one. As you said, Liz, the tactics for the Brazilian looked like it was a very fast first half of the race, then relaxed into it. Well, a couple of swimmers missing from this one. The world record holder we saw winning a relay medal last night, Rhys Dunn, not taking the start here. And just 4 swimmers left in this second heat. That's a little bit of a surprise, Liz. Rhys Dunn not getting in the water for this one.
Yeah, he did put in a shift yesterday in the mixed 4x100 freestyle relay for this classification. He went on the last leg for that and maybe just didn't recover in time to get back in this morning. But Jonsson is taking advantage of the absence. The Icelandic swimmer leading at the turn from another very informed swimmer, Alexander Hillhouse, who had a superb swim for Denmark to get a medal earlier in the week. He'll be another athlete swimmer with confidence. And this S14 classification has really moved on, really stepped up and become very competitive. You can't predict the medalists anymore.
No, you certainly can't. Hillhouse, we said there's a surprise medalist in the backstroke. He's using that backstroke. Good effect here. Thought he had the lead, but he doesn't, because that goes to Vasil Krajnic of Ukraine. Krajnic, another one who's come through in recent years, probably European Championships back in 2018. He's a real all-rounder, twice a European champion in this one. He's a medalist on the World Championships and the Paralympic Games in this event. It's very, very close across the field. 4 swimmers all trying to make their way into that final. Krajnic just leads Robert Jonsson from Iceland. The Icelander was the world champion back in 2017. Krajnic has that slender lead going into this final 50 freestyle.
Yeah, and then Louis Lawler just turning third for Great Britain, and the battle for position will be important down at this final 50 metres, because there were 6 athletes in the first heat, so the top 2 positions, barring any disqualifications, would progress through to the final.
Yeah, we're looking for something like a 2:18 to try and get to that final. As a 5th place swimmer, very close at the front here. Maybe going to go to Jonsson. It does by 9/100ths of a second. Hillhouse in 2:16. Louis Lawler is going to be right on the cusp of qualification there with that 2:18.59. I think the top 3 are going to be in it. Robert Isaac, Jonsson, just taking the touch there over Vasil Krajnic. With Hillhouse, should be safe into that final. Is Louis Lawler going to make it? It's going to be close. I think he might just miss out. So there Jonsson having a look up at the scoreboard, and he will see that he will qualify by winning that second heat ahead of Vasil Krajnic and Alexander Hillhouse in 3rd position. Nicholas Bennett will be the fastest into that final, and the last swimmer to make it was Brutus de Oliveira from Brazil, just ahead of Great Britain's Louis Lawler. Great Britain do have a representative in that final, Cameron Verncoom, making it home. But there is the finish. Oh, it's very close between these two. Jonsson getting ahead of Krajnic. They will be contenders for the medals in that final, I'm sure. Watch out for Bandeira though. I think the Brazilian have a little bit more to give in that final.
Yeah, once again, there's a lot of people in that, there's a lot of athletes that have really stepped up in the past years we've talked about, so it's unpredictable of where those medals could go. They'll all fancy their chances to steal a position on the podium, and it might make for a nervy one.
Yes, Italy still lead the way after the 4 days of competition. Only 2 ahead of the USA though, and Brazil had a good night as well yesterday, going ahead of Great Britain there. The top 4 look like they are clear of the rest. 5 medals apiece for 5 gold medals apiece for the Netherlands and Colombia. Your husband, of course, Liz, in the Brazilian team. You're my go-to Brazilian expert. I know you don't know all the Brazilian team. I know you're not married to all the Brazilian team.
It's true, I'm not. But like, yeah, they've really developed over time, and they've got a good visually impaired squad. We move on to the S11 events, but their squad more dominant in the male events here. But we'll deal with looking at the women's 100 freestyle first.
Humphreys twins are back in again for Great Britain, the 17-year-olds. On the outside lanes of this one. 2 from USA as well. McLean Hermes, Anastasia Pagonis returning to the pool. She won yesterday in the 200 metres individual medley. Chikako Ono from Japan is the 5th swimmer in this one, medalist in that relay yesterday for Japan. Japan just getting the touch over Great Britain at the end of that visually impaired relay yesterday. But Pagonis has been impressive, hasn't she? The young swimmer from the USA. She goes in that centre lane. There's her teammate McLean Hermes. Waving to the crowds. McLean Hermes, 21 years of age. Pagonis, 18 years of age. And the two Humphreys twins, both 17 years of age.
And you can see there with McLean Hermes, they got a good reaction to the start signal. But as she's become known for, it is Anastasia Pagonis in lane 4 that's up and out already into a very strong lead. They're only at the halfway point of the first length, and she's already got clear water between her and the chasing pack.
Oh, it's very good indeed from Anastasia Pagonis. Remember, this is the S11 class. Swimmers will be wearing blacked out goggles. They have no vision. They'll rely on the tappers to let them know where that turn is. Tappers all done. Pretty decent job there. It's very close for second place, but look at this from Anastasia Pagonis. She impressed us in the individual medley. 400 freestyle is the one where she made her name, but this 100 is looking excellent for the American.
Yeah, she's coming in strongly to the finish. No question that she's going to take this first heat. She's sending a message to the world record holder who goes in the next heat, Lisette Boensma of the Netherlands. She stops the clock there in 107.22. As we wait for the other athletes to finish, it's very tight behind there. And it will be McLean Hermes who comes through second. She turned third. She finishes second in a time of 117.62. And then Chikako Ono finishing strongly for Japan in 118.60.
Pagonis clearly ahead of the rest of the field. An important touch there from McLean Hermes to get in for second place. USA 1 and 2. Chikako Ono in third place. Might be good enough for her to qualify. Humphreys twins in 4th and 5th. Scarlett just ahead of Eliza Humphrey. But the tap, so important, Liz.
Yeah, and these athletes, they try to use the same tappers if possible in training all of the time so that it becomes second nature, and it's almost like people practice their starts, people practice their turns, and tapping is another discipline almost that these S11 athletes have to work on.
You ever tapped any of your teammates?
No, thank you. That is too stressful. I do not want the responsibility. You've got to know your limits sometimes, and I think it's better off saying that you're not the right person. I was not the right person.
There's the goggles being checked. Blacked out goggles. Have to make sure there's no scratches. It could mean a disqualification if there is the blacked out goggles are not complete there. I've done a bit of tapping in the past. One of my teammates, when we've had several swimmers in a race, maybe short of the regular tappers. The Americans take that top 2 spots there ahead of Japan, and Scarlett Humphrey getting the better of her twin sister on this occasion. Yeah, a lot of pressure on the taps, as you said. Freestyle's not too bad, but backstroke when the arms are coming across the middle lane, very difficult.
Well, I've noticed a new technique here this week. A lot of people getting their backstroke tapped. The tap and stick is actually in the water, so their head hits the water rather than the tapper having to try and navigate between the rotating arms, as you said.
Well, that would be a good technique. I wish I knew that when I did the tapping all those years ago.
20 years ago.
20 plus. Never at the major championships, though. I never managed to get that far. Just at the local meets. There's the second heat. You see the world record holder Lisette Boensma in lane number 4. There's Tatiana Blatnerova, the only medalist so far for the Slovakian team. There's the Mexican, Matilda Alcazar Figueroa, medalist at our home World Championships in Mexico City back in 2017.
Well, Lisette Brunsma, she is the world record holder. She's the defending world champion in this event. And she got off to a very fast start, with as similar to what we saw in the first heat. She's up and she's already got clear water ahead of the rest of the field.
Again, Lisette Brunsma, another one who came through as a real youngster. She's 21 years of age now. She takes the tap. Pretty good. We've seen her had some trouble with the taps before at the major championships, haven't we? But I think she's nailed it now, Lisette Brunsma. That was a very good tap. Just having a little bit of a battle with the lane ropes there. Her freestyle, she kind of almost feels with the water with her hands, doesn't she? She kind of reaches out at the front there. The fingers kind of upturned at the front of her freestyle stroke.
Yeah, and you can see there's a great shot of that as she comes into the finish. She will take this one out, but there's a range of strokes even in this 11 category. And Brunsma finishing in 106.95. She'll be happy with that. The cheers from the crowd will help signify that she's gone well, because obviously these athletes can't see where the competitors are. But she's always smiling, isn't she, Lisette Brunsma? Always got a spring in her step. But yeah, you'll see lots of different strokes in this S11 event, and it isn't because they have a different level of function in their arms and their legs, but it's because they have a different way of receiving information. Some of these athletes will have been born without vision. Some of these athletes will have had situations where they've lost their vision, and then other athletes have situations where their vision deteriorates over time, and as a result, the information that they've been able to receive at various points in their life has changed, and that therefore what they perceive freestyle should look like, or any stroke for that matter, is very different, which is why it's so exciting, because everybody swims very differently in their own unique ways. And you can see part of the rigmarole, they get out, they take their goggles off, they hand them to the officials, and we just have to wait that little bit longer for all of that confirmation for those results to be confirmed.
Yeah, and they've developed these techniques over the years, whatever works for them. And I suppose that almost the benefit of that slightly upturned fingers at the front of the stroke for Lisette Brunsma is that if you do tangle with those lane ropes, if your fingers are pointing down, you're going to go straight in to those discs there, and they're pretty unforgiving. But this kind of slight upturn there you see on the right hand, if she does tangle with the lane rope, she's going to almost skirt over the top of them.
Yeah, and when you're coming into the wall too, I guess you're feeling for that wall, because a lot of athletes in this classification do break fingers going into finishes or turns.
Very impressive though from the world record holder in 106.95. She will head Anastasia Pagonis into that final. Alcazar Figueroa well placed to win another medal at the World Championships ahead of Junque Fernandez and Blatnerova. We'll have another chance of medals tonight. Into the men's race now. There's two heats of this men's 100 freestyle S11. See the return of one of the Japanese swimmers. Two Japanese swimmers have really performed well. Uchu Tomita and Kaiichi Kimura. Kimura not starting in this 100 freestyle. He's left that one all to his teammate. Uchu Tomita, winner of the silver medal in the 100 butterfly in the Tokyo Paralympic Games. And we said it before, a real emotional night in the Tokyo Paralympic Games for the home swimmer Tomita and Kimura, taking gold and silver on the last day of competition. They had to wait to the 10th day of competition in the Paralympic swimming to take that gold and silver medal.
It was definitely worth the wait for the host nation, and it was a great way for everyone to round out that meet.
Japan Had a very good Paralympic swimming competition. That wasn't the only medals that they won in the pool. Goes in lane number 4 next to Helo Serbin. Performed very well in the Spanish relay team. He goes in lane number 3.
And there you can just see the black hat of Japan going very well. It is Tomita there, just edging ahead. He's got a good underwater phase, and he used that because Mikhailo Serbin of the Ukraine, still a relative youngster, even though he's gets great results and he's experienced, he's still young, but he comes up and straight into the strokes. And it is Tomita that leads at the turn from Serbin, with Cantera Alvera in 3rd.
I just clipped the lane ropes there, just hitting it with the left shoulder almost to Tomita as he comes through, but the power of the Japanese swimmer coming through very strongly in the closing stages. Serbin again having a little bit of a tussle with the lane rope there. He sorted himself out for this final lunge to the wall. Tomita will take it. Serbin just getting in 2nd, and Cantero Alvera relatively untroubled 100 freestyle compared to the other 2.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those situations. The S11 athletes, a lot of them rely on the lane rope to guide them, because obviously you want to minimize how much you're bouncing around the rope. So they've developed a technique over the years where they skim along the lane rope with their lats. So the side of their back is the bit that they want to skim along. So then their hand still enters at the front and they don't get caught in the lane rope, because as you mentioned, Paul, when you hit your fingertips or your toes in those discs that are on the lane rope, it is really, really painful. It's like a really sharp pain, and then you have to respond really quickly to get back up. So they use that brushing technique, but if every now and again they just then end up bouncing off and going the wrong way. So you can see those round discs at each lane rope, so they do move, but if you get your fingers caught in them, they're so sharp. They're not sharp in the sense that they're soft, but there you can see if you catch on those edges, it's the most painful thing I've ever experienced in swimming.
And as a breaststroker as well, especially if you're doing in training, you're kind of doubling up in the lane. It's always likely maybe to clip one of them.
Yeah, so they try to keep under the lane rope on breaststroke.
Tomita though confirmed there, the goggles have been checked. 59.51 for the Japanese swimmer, the only one under the 1 minute. Serbin and Cantero Alvera in 2nd and 3rd. Young Czech swimmer David Krotochvil in 4th position, got a good chance to make the final, the 14-year-old. Second heat to come though, and some big names here. We were looking forward to seeing Edgaras Matakis of Lithuania, one of the great technicians of the S11 class, but he is not taking the start. That's a shock, Liz.
Yeah, he's had a good week so far. Got medalist already this week, in good shape as well, so disappointing not to see him.
Yeah, there is Roger Dorsman. He has been the dominant force in this class. 3 gold medals already and 1 silver from the first 4 days of competition. 3 golds he won in Tokyo. 3 Brazilians in this one. There's Wendell Belmarino Pereira. He goes in lane number 3. Matias Rainer Carrera de Souza and Jose Luis Bedayo Maya, the 3 Brazilian S11 swimmers spread across the pool.
Yeah, we talked about their domestic strength, but it will be Roger Dorsman of the Netherlands that is the favourite to take this one out. We saw his compatriot going in the women's event, and him and Lizette Brunsma really come through the ranks together and been great servants to the Netherlands team. He's turning there in a clean 27.85, and it is Marco Menzies, the Portuguese local favourite, who's turned 2nd there at the 50-metre mark, and it was De Souza of Brazil leading the way of his compatriots in the 3rd position. That yellow hat closest to us but Roger Dorsman here looking very strong, looking very comfortable, looking very powerful.
I was speaking to Roger Dorsman at the World Para Series in Berlin, and he was saying he would love to rewrite the record books. There's some quite long-standing records on the record books for the S11 class. Bradley Schneider holds this one for the USA, set back in Rio in 2016, but there's some records that go back the World Championships back in 1986.
Yeah, well, we'll continue that conversation in just a second as we see Leada Lemus Rojas just coming in there. Swimming breaststroke in the freestyle. For Colombia, of course, in a freestyle event, you can swim whatever you want. But, Paul, what else did Roger say to you about the length of those records?
Well, he did say that there surely will be no one else that would even remember the World Championships in 1986, and I did tell him that I did swim in it, which seemed to amuse him, because he said I sounded so young.
Well, he obviously was trying to
no, he didn't.
Trying to butter you up, but
no, he didn't. But he is a class act, isn't he?
Yeah,
Roger Dorsman.
Big program here. He's entered 6 events over the course of the week, and so far he's delivering. He's got a silver medal to go with a few golds that he's won already, and he looked good there in a position to challenge for yet another.
And he's been faster this year. Just about a second outside the world record time held by Bradley Schneider, the great US swimmer. And Marco Meneses in second position. Remember Marco Meneses last year, Liz, when he swam the 400 freestyle? It was the European Championships here in Madeira. The very last day of competition, Marco Meneses went out really fast in the 400, and the field just reeled him in, and he ended up finishing 4th. It was such a good race for the host nation swimmer. I wonder if he's going to have a chance of a medal. This S11 class, you can never tell. He's in the final, he's got a great chance in 5th position. Dorsman and Tomita, though, looked excellent.
Yeah, they do look like the ones to beat, and they will battle it out in those centre lanes. But like we say, those battles take on a slightly different meaning in the S11 category because they can't see who they're racing. Sometimes they choose the same lane rope, and then they can feel the athlete next to them, but sometimes they move across the lane rope because they end up stealing each other's water.
Well, Bradley Schneider, remember the two swimmers quite close to each other. Bradley Schneider, the world record holder, actually clipped another swimmer on the backstroke event, thought it was the tapper, then turned in the middle of the lane.
Yeah, and then
things like that can happen.
There's so much that can go on in an S11 event, but we'll now move on to the opposite end of the pool and the opposite end of the classification system.
Yeah, let's focus. Leanne Smith and Ellie Chalice in the centre lanes there, renewing their rivalry that they had in the 50 backstroke last night. The American coming out on top, and she's had a great championship so far. 2 Brazilians in this one, 3 Mexicans, a Canadian, and the great Singaporean champion Yip Pinju. Swimming up against the S3 swimmers. Leanne Smith, top of the world rankings this year. She's the America's record holder. She set that back in April. There's Patricia Valle, one of the most experienced swimmers here, who made her first World Championship appearance back in 1998 in New Zealand. Ellie Chalice, the young Great Britain swimmer, just 18 years of age, Ellie Chalice, and she has had a great week. Taking a world record swim on day 1 of competition in the breaststroke, and challenging Leanne Smith yesterday in the backstroke, taking silver. It's the S3 classification, Liz. We'll see a range of impairments, a range of different starting techniques.
Yeah, and expect Leanne Smith to get away well in that centre lane. Great Britain's Chalice will have a high stroke rate as she looks to stick with Leanne Smith as best she can, but this morning it does look like the United States athlete that is in a league of her own. She's swimming very well at these championships, a number of gold medals already to her name, and she's looking extremely strong here.
Well, she went 41.65 in the World Power Series at Indianapolis earlier this year. World record held by Italian Ariola Trimi, set back in Tokyo. So Leanne Smith may have designs on edging closer to that world record. She's safely into the final with that 43.59. Ellie Chalice, a good swim from her, 51.24 for Ellie Chalice. Fastest time that she has gone this year. She went 51.91 in the World Power Series in Aberdeen earlier this year. And as the swimmers come into the wall, third position was Patricia Valle of Mexico. Fourth was Maria Pereira Barreto of Brazil. And fifth place was the S2 swimmer, Yip Pianju of Singapore. And that's the championship record for the S2 classification.
Yeah, some great swimming there this morning. You can see the two athletes who hit the top two spots, all smiles, and they've talked about how quite often at major championships they don't get the opportunity to swim in this S3 category. They often have to swim up with the S4s, and how it's really nice to be able to go to the goal room together, to get behind that block together and race each other for those medals.
And there's the two main contenders, you would say, for the medals tonight. Again, a number of the swimmers starting in the water, number going from the dives. They are held in position by their coaching and support staff. Staff not allowed to add propulsion, but they can be held in position in this classification. But Leanne Smith looking really, really good there, very strong on one arm. Ellie Chalice, her impairment on all four limbs. And there's Patricia Valle again. Quite similar technique to Leanne Smith, the Mexican experienced campaigner. Patricia Valle in third position there behind Chalice and Leanne Smith with the Yip Pianju, that championship record in the S2 classification. Smith, Chalice and Valle will progress to the final in the top three spots. As I said, Patricia Valle, first World Championships back in 1998. Just looking, she's won 33 World Championship medals over the years. Great servant for the Mexican team.
Yeah, the Mexicans have great strength and depth in the S3 classification against in the women's and the men's events, and we'll see some of them go. But they're in the second heat of this event. There are two heats.
Yeah, three Mexicans go in the second heat. This is the first heat. And all different nationalities taking the start in this one. Kayseri Oni Ostapchenko top, Martinez Duelo, Becca da Silva and Lorenas Albaya. There's Ostapchenko. Lane number 4, they took a bronze medal in the 50 meters backstroke behind two Mexicans yesterday. Vincenzo Boni with that blue cap, he will be one we're hoping to be featuring in the medals. There's the 19-year-old, the youngest in this field, Josiah Top from Germany. Again, there's different impairments here for this 50 freestyle, but expect this young man to be under the water. Those first 15 meters, he'll get good propulsion from the legs, but it's all legs really for Josiah Top.
Yeah, it is, and he uses that off the start, and then as the athletes with the stronger arm pulls start to reel him back in, it becomes a bit of a game of cat and mouse down the closing stages, but it adds to the excitement. And there you can see Top really coming of age in his S3 classification group, and he's off. Similar up there in lane 2, a dive from Shakon Karusi of Thailand, and then he's up and onto his back, whereas Toff goes for that side stroke. It's freestyle, so you can do that here, and he's using that very, very strong kick to bounce him through the water almost. As the chase impact comes, Denis Ostapchenko, the Ukrainian, very, very experienced athlete there, starting to come back, and this is where you see the classification system play out.
A great picture of the bow wave at the front, just at the head of Josiah Top there, and he is keeping Ostapchenko into second position. Ostapchenko will have the arms at the finish. Top will finish with his head, and he gets in 46.80. Another good performance from Josiah Top, just outside his entry time of 46.48. Ostapchenko is a couple of years older than the young German swimmer. 47.50 for the Ukrainian. Third place was Vincenzo Boni, just over the 50-second mark. 8 swimmers in this second heat, but you would think those top 3 would be safely into the final. Good swim again from Josiah Top, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had a very good, successful start to the meet. He's been in the para-swimming circuit for a very long time, from a very young age, benefiting from one of the most established World Para Series events, the German Open, happening in his home country. So he's had a taste for a while, and he's now really starting to step up on this global senior stage.
Yeah, he won a medal in the individual medley a few days ago, Josiah Top, and he wins that first heat of the men's 50 freestyle S3. Denis Ostapchenko in second position, Vincenzo Boni in third. Martínez Toello of Spain, 54.88. We'll have a keen eye on this second heat. There are, looking at the entry times, 4 swimmers under the 50-second mark in terms of entries. Entry times. In fact, make that 3, because we don't have the Spanish swimmer, Daniel Ferrer Robles. We do have the 3 Mexicans though. There's Hernandez in lane number 5. Diego Lopez Diaz, champion in the backstroke. Champion, in fact, gold and silver medalist in the backstroke. Lopez Diaz and Hernandez. There's the Polish swimmer getting in from the side, Krzysztof Lechniak. Grant Patterson back in the water again with that yellow cap of Australia, using that band, that cord for the start. He seems in good form. There was a delay to the medal presentation the other day. Patterson had gone back to the hotel, thinking it wasn't going to happen. Had to come back to receive his medal in the individual medley a few days ago. He's with that yellow cap, just 1 line down from the top. Lechniak right at the top there in lane number 1, but in the centre, the 3 Mexicans going well in these early stages.
Yes, and it was Marcos Zarate Rodriguez in lane 6 that got off to the best start. He's swimming there on that side stroke, but now it is the power of the backstrokers in the middle who are starting to come through, using that backstroke in this freestyle. The white hat of Lopez Diaz just heading Jesus Hernandez as we go into the flags. Familiar sight.
It is Lopez Diaz, great record in this event in recent years. The World and Paralympic champion gets in ahead of Hernandez. Same order as they finished yesterday in the backstroke. It's third place for Mexico as well, so 1, 2, 3 for Mexico. Grant Patterson in for 4th position, and another one of the experienced campaigners, Jonas Kastakis from Greece, getting in for 5th place in 57.70. But looking at the times in terms of qualifications, the 3 Mexicans should be safely into that final, because Lopez Diaz, again, was one of these Mexicans. He'd been around for a little while, but one of the Mexicans who really came to the fore in the World Championships in 2017 in his home country in Mexico City. Missed the World Championships in 2015. That was supposed to be his first World Championships, but he broke his finger in the lead up to that one.
Yeah, well, it happens, doesn't it? And nobody's immune to injury, and timing is everything in swimming, because those broken bones, you can't always get in the water, and especially in a classification like this, you can't rest either, because everything you have available to you, you have to use all of the time. But great to see him eventually coming through.
He's come through in great style there in that second heat. He takes it. It's Mexico 1, 2, 3. Mexico 1 and 2 as they advance to the final. Be a good chance for Germany to pick up another medal. Josiah Top in third position. Ostapchenko will be in there. Boney will be in there, as will Grant Patterson. .50 freestyle again for the women this time, for the S6 classification. So it's your classification, Liz?
It is, but the last time I swam this event, I think, was in the final of Beijing in 2008, and I was so not good at this that I didn't think I was going to make the final, so I had plans for the afternoon and I had to cancel them.
Oh no. Priorities, Liz, priorities.
No, I swam well in the heat. It was a surprise. A good surprise.
See, you're relaxed.
It's true. No pressure.
Sara Vargas Blanco has been very good at these championships. She goes in lane number 4. 15-year-olds. And she was one of the younger swimmers, second youngest, I think, at the Tokyo Games last year. And she's really come on this year. We've seen her take that 100 title just ahead of Anna Hontar. Ellie Marks also a gold medalist at these championships already in the relay. It's great to see the American relay team win the other night. Fantastic performance for them. They just had the perfect combination. There's Anna Hontar, just missed out in the 100 freestyle behind Vargas Blanco. Just missed out on the backstroke as well, behind Shelby Newkirk, who goes in lane number 6.
It was Vargas Blanco that got a good reaction off the block. A great start coming from Canada's Shelby Newkirk in the early stages. But now the spearhead of the lane allocation starting to come into formation and going very, very well. It is Anna Hontar, Paralympic Games bronze medalist there of the Ukraine. Will this be the one where she gets her gold medal?
Well, Anna Hontar, looks really hungry for this one. She's going to take this one. 33.18 ahead of Vargas Blanco. Ellie Marks getting in for third position. And in fourth place for Shelby Newkirk. But a good swim there from Anna Hontar. As I said, she just missed out. Taking 2 silver medals in 2 very close contests. Vargas Blanco looking good, the 15-year-olds. And Ellie Marks as well will be safely into that final. We saw Ellie Marks with a tapper there at the end.
Yeah, Ellie Marks also has a visual impairment, and therefore, as with the visually impaired categories, that tapper is there to signify that the wall is approaching. But Anna Hontar there was all smiles as she climbed over the lane rope to exit the pool. And we've seen some incredible speed in her 100-meter events in all strokes this week. But she's just been going into the turn first, but coming out second. But obviously on a 50 freestyle, you don't have to worry about a turn. And there she is, joyous in that, and hopefully she can take that speed into tonight's final.
Well, it's the fastest time of the year so far in this 50 freestyle S6. And she will progress to that final in first position ahead of Sara Vargas Blanco, who also swam her fastest time of the year in second place there. Ellie Marks in a good position, the Paralympic silver medalist. She will go in third position. And Shelby Newkirk of Canada in fourth place. That was the one and only heat. That was short and sharp for the S6 women. The men, however, have 2 heats. Netherlands go in the centre lane. Ties van Hoefwegen. We're talking about the Netherlands swimmers. We've got a relay team tonight in the the mixed 34-point relay, and they're ones that, again, have got almost the perfect combination.
Yeah, and this morning I think we're supposed to have some heat this morning. Let me just check. We have. So they might use that combination in the heat.
2 Brazilians in this one. Thijs Glock and Daniel Javier Mendes, either side of Thijs van Hulwegen. First of the Gutierrez Bermudez brothers goes in this heat one. That's Raul Gutierrez Bermudez. We've got a lot of siblings at this championship, haven't we, lads?
Yeah, there is a nature of a lot of disabilities are hereditary. We see it often in the visually impaired classification groups. But yeah, here we've got siblings, we've got cousins.
Twins, a couple of twins.
There's a few sets of twins actually.
Yeah. That's Thijs Glock. A couple of medals already to his name at this championships. This one, again, 2 heats, 2 very fast heats. There's not going to be much hanging about in this one. This man's been good, hasn't he, Daniel Javier Mendes?
Yeah, Javier Mendes and Glock have some quite close domestic battles in their home competitions.
Thijs van Hulwegen from the Netherlands will go in the middle lane. Won 3 gold medals at the European Championships back in 2018. Made his debut for the Netherlands team right here in Madeira in 2016. And he's gone into a good lead ahead of the 2 Brazilians.
It was Van Hulwegen who got the better start. Now the Brazilians both through him pretty much stroke for stroke coming through to try and catch Van Hulwegen. It's Javier Mendes with the fast finish. But who's gonna, it looks like Van Hulwegen is gonna hold on to take the touch. Javier Mendes 0.22 behind him, and Thijs Glock in 3rd position.
And Hulwegen 30.34 for this one. The final swimmer to finish, Matthias Angula of Namibia in 44.16. Van Hulwegen taking that one, 30.34. Decent time for him. That should be enough to qualify for that final. The 2 Brazilians happy with their performances, both in the 30-second range as well. All got a little bit tight at the finish there as they approach the wall. Faltos of Greece in 4th position ahead of Gutierrez Bermudez in 5th place.
Well, Thijs van Hulwegen, he used to swim quite a busy program, but now he does tend to focus on these freestyle events.
Takes that one just 0.2 of a second ahead of Javier Mendes. Again, in the S6, we do see a range of impairments there. It's kind of, as we've said, the S5 and the S6, probably the biggest range of impairment types that we see in any of the classes.
Yeah, and so those swimmers use their different strengths. We see often it is the athletes with cerebral palsy that can get a good start, if the hemiplegic athletes, because of the strong leg to get them going, and then those athletes with the lower leg impairments tend to build through the length and finish very quickly, which is exactly what we saw happen there for Daniel Javier Mendes.
It's second heat, Antonio Fantin goes in lane number 4. Nelson Crispin in lane number 5, the championship record holder. There's a lot of noise in the arena as this heat came out. The French have been quite noisy in the arena, as have the Italians, and there's a Frenchman and an Italian here across from Nelson Crispin, the championship record holder. There's Fantin, he starts from the water. Laurent Chardard is an amputee, one leg and one arm on the same side. The Frenchman who swam really well in the 100. He had a dead heat with Nelson Crispin in the 100 freestyle.
Yeah, and expect this to be a fast one because Nelson Crispin did take that 100 metres out very quickly indeed, as did Chardard, but it was Antonio Fantin, the blue hat of Italy, that finished so strongly. He cuts through the field just as he is doing here.
Yeah, Fantin coming through with that blue cap. It's going to be close to the championship record, just outside. 29.39 for Antonio Fantin, world record breaker in the 100 freestyle. And he wins that 50 freestyle. Second heat ahead of Crispin and ahead of Chardard. These 3 swimmers should progress to the final. And Fantine and Crispin renewing that rivalry. Crispin will think he's got a chance in this 50.
Yeah, this is probably his best chance to challenge Fantine. He gets such a good reaction off the block and he's up and into that speed, and he uses that power of the way that he's built to move through the water with a high stroke rate. Fantine's always coming back and long, powerful strokes, so it's a much slower stroke rate, but his distance that he travels with each stroke is greater. So it's a really interesting coming together of the 3 athletes.
It is indeed. Fantine just gets the edge there over Crispin. Around about half a second at the end. Didn't look like it was that much of a distance, but that's how it ended up. Fantine, Crispin, Chardard, Gutierrez, Bermudez. Will he scrape into the final with a 32.1? Maybe just. Fantine will lead the way though. Crispin, both the 2 leading swimmers under the 30-second mark. Van Hoefvegen looked good, as did the 2 Brazilians in the previous heat, as did Chardard. Again, outside the main 2, medals could go absolutely anywhere. Great battle you would expect for the bronze medal, but don't discount anyone. Anything can happen in this final. Visually impaired swimmers coming out now for the S13 classification. 50 freestyle, 2 heats of this one. Ukrainian Alexei Verchenko, gold medalist in the 100 meters butterfly. He goes in lane number 4. We spoke the other day about the Uzbekistan swimmers. We have Muzaffar Tunsunkayev in lane number 3. He only ever won 1 World Championship gold, and that was Shok Sanamkon Toshpilatova, so no male Uzbekistan World Championship gold medalists. Just missed out the other day in the 50. But this is in the 100, sorry, but this is the 50. Verchenko leading them through. Tursunkayev and Talaso Engel, the young German, on either side of the Ukrainian as they come into the closing stages. Verchenko looks like he has this one under control, and for a difference in a 50 freestyle, it was a clear winner.
It was. We've seen Verchenko, we've seen finish strongly in other events, but there was no messing around there. He led from the front, he stamped his authority on that one.
Verchenko in very good form earlier in the week. He was just out of the middles in that kind of blanket finish in the 100, which was won by Krilo Garashenko, who goes in this second heat. There's Verchenko in the middle of those 5 swimmers. Straight up into stroke was Tursunkayev, but Verchenko had a clear lead as they approached the final stages, and just stroking in there in 24.19. Tursunkayev in second, just 12 100ths ahead of Talaso Engel. Douglas Matera choosing to have the tap at the end. The Brazilian, he finishes in 4th position, 25.50. Well, 3 swimmers under the 25-second mark. You would think they'd be safe into the final. One more heat to come though. Final individual heat of this morning. Got the relays to come as well after this one, so excitement not over yet. Another Uzbek swimmer, Islam Aslanov, goes in lane number 4. Can he progress to the final? Garashenko though, the winner of the 100 freestyle in probably the closest contest that we've seen all week. He goes in lane number 5. Nicholas Guy Turbide of Canada not taking the start following that great victory he had yesterday in the backstroke. Aslanov though is leading Garashenko. Aslanov looking really good actually into the closing stages here. He's going to be, I thought he was going to be in the 23-second range there, but 24.15 for Islam Aslanov. And that is going to be the fastest that we have seen, just by 4/100ths of a second. Aslanov just getting ahead of Verchenko in terms of qualification time.
Well, it promises to be another tight one this evening, but it might be that gold medal for Uzbekistan that they've been waiting on for the men. I always think that Kirill Garashenko's hair is always still dry after he swims freestyle.
You need to get that swimming cap, Liz.
No, I do.
When you go in the pool yesterday, you were very worried about your keeping your hair dry.
True, that is not my normal style, but I literally
It's not.
just washed it.
You did a bit of filming.
Yeah, there's just not much time, is there, to dry your hair here?
Great swim there from Aslanov to take that one. He'll start as marginal favourite. That was a good swim there. Garashenko, though, maybe have more in the tank tonight. We saw him in the 100 freestyle. Fantastic finish in that 100 freestyle to take the gold. Drzelski from Poland in third position. Should be safely into the final. I think Madeira might have made it as well. 2 from Uzbekistan, 2 from Ukraine are the top 4 ranked swimmers. Talaso Engel into the final. Rastelski's made it. Madeira is in for Brazil. And Salguero Oteiza from Spain, just 1/100th behind the Brazilian. He makes it in 8th position. Very excited here in the commentary position by that prospect of an Uzbekistan gold medal. We like to see add countries onto the medal table, though, don't we? Like to see the medals shared about.
Yeah, it's true, and they have been all week, to be fair. Last night, maybe not quite as much. There were some big performances from the Italians, the Americans, and the Brazilians. But for the rest of the week, there has been a good mix of victors and medalists generally.
So the 4x100 metres medley relay, 34 points. The way these relays work, it's mixed gender, so 2 male and 2 female. They have obviously to follow the strokes in the same order as defined by the rules of the medley relay. But the classifications of the swimmers, the classification numbers, cannot add up to more than 34 points. You can have less than 34 points, but you cannot have more than 34 points for your combinations. And it's the first time we've seen this on the international stage, at a major international competition. It's going to be very, very interesting. Previously, we've had same-sex relays, and that suited some teams, but other countries are now coming into the mix. They were able now to field a team, and they're going to challenge some of these countries.
Yeah, and that was the reason for the introduction of this event. We've got 2 strong heats here of countries, and a lot of these countries have never been in a position to field the relay teams before. There you can see the Argentinians, they'll be going in lane 3 next to the Italians that have strong relay teams regardless, but the Spanish probably here, one of the teams that really might benefit from this format.
Yeah, there's Sarai Gascon. She'll go on the anchor leg for the Spanish team. The backstrokers are in the water. Netherlands right at the top there go with their S10 swimmer, their S10 male swimmer, Bas Taken. So watch out for him going off to an early lead. Also Nicolas Nieto, the S10 swimmer from Argentina, the male swimmer, going off to a very good start, and Spanish start with Inigo Lopez San. So he's 2 points down from the swimmers at the top of your shot there, but the 3 male swimmers stretching away in the lead in the opening backstroke 50 metres.
And it is the male swimmers, and the best of the female swimmers at the moment is Great Britain's Alice Ty down at the bottom of the screen, swimming backstroke here. For the Great British team, she hasn't done any backstroke at this meet, but right at the top of the screen is Bas Taken, the Dutch athlete that will look to hand over to his partner, Lisa Kruger, as she will swim the next leg. She'll dive in there for the breaststroke leg. Brilliant breaststroker Kruger, world champion in this one, Paralympic Games champion back in Rio in 2016. So the Dutch have most definitely front-loaded their team. And Dani Jimenez of Argentina going very well. She's been a world championship bronze medalist in this, world champion back in Mexico in this one. So the breaststrokers are in, and the Argentinians also following the same combination as the Dutch in these early stages.
Yeah, 2 lanes down from Dani Jimenez is Anastasia Dimitriev. Dimitriev, another breaststroker in the SB8 classification. So the Spanish have got a very strong finish here to their relay with Jose Maria Alcaraz and Sarai Gascon. Spanish team looking in a good position here. But the male swimmers now trying to come back into contention. But Lisa Kruger started very, very well, and she is going to continue to keep the Dutch team in the lead. Coming through in lane number 4, Federico Morlacchi for Italy. He is going to try and make up the deficit that they have against the Spanish team and the Argentinians. But Kruger swam this well, and she will hand over to Florian Bulcher on the fly leg, the S9 female swimmer for the Netherlands.
Yeah, the Dutch have worked. They've gone 10, 9, 9, and they will finish off with an S6 athlete. So Bulcher will be looking to maintain and extend this lead, if possible, as the athletes start to chase.
Well, in for Argentina, Diana Aragon is just being eclipsed now and going down into 4th position. Lane number 5 for Spain is Jose Maria Alcaraz, swimming really well there, bringing the Spanish team back into contention, trying to catch up the Dutch, and they're going to have a good chance to take this one. The Spanish team in 3rd position. It does look like it might be the Italians coming through there with Alberto Amadeo, and they've got Palazzo on the last leg, their S8 female swimmer.
So Amadeo going well. Jose Maria Alcaraz, he will hand over to Sarai Gascon, an S9 athlete on the last leg of this freestyle. It will be Gascon that goes in just behind Van Hoefegen for the Netherlands, but he is an S6 athlete. He's just got out of the freestyle heats in his individual event, so a busy morning for him. And the Gascon is in the picture now. She is in the centre lane, and she is going strongly for Spain. The Italians comfortably in 3rd position at the moment, but for Great Britain, James Hollis handed over to Oliver Carter. They had 2 S10 male athletes at the back end of their relay, so watch out for them.
Well, Ollie Carter making his debut for the Great Britain team, trying to bring them back into the top 3 places. He will be chasing the swimmers in the centre here. Palazzo of Italy in that blue cap, Sarai Gascon and Ties van Hoefegen are now going to fight this one out at the front of the field. Sarai Gascon just edging the Dutch swimmer. Female swimmer for Spain is going to bring the Spanish team home in front. It's been a good performance from the Spanish team. The Dutch are going to be in 2nd. Great Britain are coming through into 3rd. Good first swim here from Ollie Carter to bring them through. Sarai Gascon touches for Spain. Ties van Hoefegen in 2nd for the Netherlands. It is Great Britain in 3rd place. Ollie Carter bringing them home after James Hollis has pulled up some of the ground in that 2nd half of the race. Very strong for the Great Britain team, and Palazzo just touched out as she finishes in 4th position for the Italian team.
And just coming in to finish now is the Japanese swimmers in lane 2. Akito Minai rounding it out for them. And if we move our attentions to lane 6, it will be the Mexican team to round out this first heat of a very exciting relay. Lopez Moreno there swimming. She took over from Raul Gutierrez Bermudez, the S6 athlete who stepped up to swim the 100 meters butterfly, and the Mexicans now coming in to complete the lineup.
There's the Mexicans coming in. Wow, what an exciting heat that was. And that's only the first heat, and it's only a heat.
It was exactly why this event was introduced to the program. It really has opened up the opportunity for athletes to compete. Well,
Sarai Gascon bringing the Spanish team home. And you know what, Liz? The result's not official yet.
And it's a relay, and it's a medley relay, so, you know, go make yourself a cup of tea.
Oh, that's a good performance from the Spanish team. They're a well-balanced team, haven't they?
Yeah, and finally, because for so long they've had to swim their 34-point relay team with a mixed match or maybe 3 good legs, but then they've just been missing that final swimmer in either the male or the female events. But this, I feel like they've got a really good opportunity here to field almost a perfect combination. 2 8s, 2 9s is always a very strong combination in this 34-point medley relay, and that's exactly what they used.
Dutch did well, didn't they? Not sure the Dutch have many more options to take to change around their team, but that's a good combination for them.
Well, that's the thing we talked about, isn't it? In the 20-point relays, the Americans, for example, they just happened to have, it all fell right for them for their perfect combination, but it was their only option. Italy will probably look to bring in a few more people, but...
Yeah, Barlam not featuring in that particular heat there for the Italians. They did finish in 4th position. Oh, we do have a disqualification, Liz. It doesn't affect the top 4 places, but it's the Argentinians who have been disqualified in that heat. So, first heat confirmed. Spain take it ahead of Netherlands, ahead of Great Britain, ahead of Italy. Wow, 4th place for the Italians. Is that going to be an issue for the Italian team? Not sure. I think they might be safe enough with that one. 4:44.16 for them.
There aren't quite as many teams in the next heat, but there is some firepower. So the Italians will have a nervous wait, because strange things happen in relays. Athletes pull out some very impressive performances, maybe step it up even more when they feel like they're part of a team and they're delivering for the other 3 members in their squad.
And the New Zealand team, very interesting combinations as well. They've gone for 3 very high numerical class swimmers, and Cameron Leslie, the S4 swimmer, bringing them home on that final leg.
Well, that's an example of a team who've got to use. They're a very small squad, the New Zealand team, very successful, but when it comes to relays, it does limit your options in how you can field those athletes.
Well, USA go in lane number 5. They will be headed by the Paralympic champion in the S9 classification. That's Hannah Aston, a female swimmer. Most of the team start with the female swimmers, with the exception of the Australians, who go with Timothy Hodge. He swam that sensational 200 metres individual medley world record a couple of days ago. Swimmer bang on form. He'll be open to get the Aussies out to a good lead here.
Yeah, and the Australians have a very strong quartet here, because Hodge will hand over to breaststroke medalist Kira Stevens, and Emily Beecroft's also a medalist on the butterfly, and then very good servant Matthew Levy will bring that Australian quartet home. And it is Hodge who's leading them out as expected, but there's a battle on in those centre lanes in the middle between Gabriela Smith and Mariana Ribeiro.
Hannah Aston as well in the mix there. I think it's Hannah Aston and Ribeiro. We're just finding it out there in 4 and 5, USA and Brazil, but no doubt about who's got the lead here. Timothy Hodge is just going to bring the Australians into 1st position there as they hand over into the breaststroke. Kira Stevens, again, very strong breaststroker for the Australian team. And a medalist in the individual breaststroke, Kira Stevens. And look for the Australians to extend that lead. USA team, Morgan Ray goes in for the 2nd leg for them. So the USA team have gone down to an S6 swimmer in that 2nd leg. But a big lead for the Australians here.
Yeah, and Hannah Ashton had a very strong 2nd 50 on the backstroke, as she always does, the Paralympic champion, to give Morgan Ray a chance here. But he will be up against it, against Lucas Mazzella of Brazil in the lane next to him, hoping that he can pull Morgan Ray to a good time. But the Australians going very well here, as we expected.
Well, the Australians got a very strong quartet. Just keep an eye on the time for them. And they've got a decent squad as well. It's a good team the Australians have fielded in the heat. Just wonder if they will change about for the final. We've got some other swimmers to come in. William Martin, maybe the combination doesn't work any other way for the Australian team, and maybe some of the big names will have to be left out.
Yeah, and that's the thing with these 34-point relay teams. It's not always feasible to fit maybe your big name into that team, and we can see there Mazzella handing over to Silva de Souza, who got a bronze medal on that butterfly individual event, so he's going strongly for the Brazilians. A really strong team for that quartet too. And now Lizzie Smith, Paralympic silver medalist, is in for the United States of America. So really, there's power everywhere in this field, and it's important that they race for time. They can't get complacent and just go for position in this heat, because that first heat was very, very close.
Well, I'm seeing Emily Beecroft take a couple of medals from outside lanes, almost outside lanes. In fact, it was this lane, I think lane 2, I think twice that she has taken medals from lane 2, the Australian. So lucky lane 2 for her, and she is leading them through for Matt Levy for that final leg for the Aussie team. They have a lead. The Brazilians have closed the gap somewhat, but Matt Levy will go in with a lead for the Aussie team.
Yeah, now just coming in is the Brazilians. Silva de Souza will hand over to Cecilia Geronimo de Araujo as she goes on the freestyle leg for the Brazilians. And now in for the Americans, it is the freestyle specialist Jamal Hill. He's an S9 athlete, so expect him to make up some ground.
Jamal Hill will make up ground on the Brazilian, but Matt Levy is away and clear. He's already on his way home. Not sure if anyone is going to catch the Australians. So Cecilia Guillermo Araujo is not going to hold off the challenge of Jamal Hill here in these heats. I think it's going to be Australia 1, USA 2. And in lane number 7, Canadians with Ariana Hunsaker trying to get on terms with the Brazilians here, but no one's going to catch the Australians as they come into the final stages of this one. And Matt Levy brings them home in 4:31.65. That is faster than the Spanish went in that previous heat. The Americans come through in 4:39.52. The Brazilians will claim third position in the time of 4:49.01, and the Canadians in 4:52.26. That should be good enough for them to make the final. Those top 4 teams, well, assuming that they are all valid swims, no disqualifications, should progress to the final. A little bit less dramatic than that first heat, I think, because the Australians led from the start.
Yeah, those swims, the teams were a little more spread out there, but like we said, heats are just heats. Once you've got a chance, a lane in that final, you've got a chance, and there will be a few squads that look to bring in alternate swimmers to bolster their chances of getting on that podium.
Jamal Hill did a good job on that closing leg there for the USA to bring them through into second place, but the Australians looking really, really strong. We will undoubtedly see some changes in personnel for tonight, but I think that swim makes the Australians pretty much the favourites for this one tonight.
Yeah, and the Australians are good relay swimmers. They've always been able to deliver strong quartets, regardless of whether it's men's events or women's events, especially in these 34-point contests. And so it makes sense that then when it became a mixed event, they were able to just sub in those swimmers and field a very, very promising team once again.
I think we've got the official result now. I was going to say there's no drama with the result, but guess what? There is. The team from Brazil have been disqualified. Australia confirmed as the winners of that one, and that's disappointing for the Brazilian team. There's the faces of the Brazilian team. They can't really understand what's happened to that one, and that's unfortunate for them, having such a great championships. but as it stands, they are not going to feature in the final. Australians look good though. Americans safely into that final. The Canadians will make it as well, and the Japanese will take that final position in that final tonight. Australians lead the way ahead of Spain, Netherlands, USA, and Great Britain. Italy as well will be in one of the outside lanes. They're going to be a threat as well. And there's Poncha. First time we've seen him this morning. Always good to see the mascot at these championships. That's it. He's disappeared. He's hiding from us.
Saw the camera and made a run for it.
He has.
Hadn't done his hair.
He maybe was listening to what we were saying about him earlier.
Might be afraid that you're going to try and take him home.
I thought you were going to say take his head off.
No, we pretended that didn't happen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Focus.
Forgetting about that. Well, the officials are leaving the poolside, and we are about to leave the poolside as well. That is the end of the session, the heat session in day number 5 here at the World Paraswimming Championships in Madeira 2022. We have some more World Championship medals to hand out tonight. Can anyone topple the Italians from the top of the medal table? They have led from day 1. They're only 2 ahead of the USA. Brazil also going well with 11 golds at the championships so far. Great Britain clear in 4th position. Can they move up the table again? Are we going to get any newcomers into this medal table? Liz Johnson will be all over it tonight.
Yes, she will. It's a strong night. There's lots of finals, lots of excitement to come, and expect some new medalists.
Czech Republic was added to Liz Johnson's gold medal list last night with Almros Petracek. We could have some more, maybe an Uzbek gold medal for their men. Are we going to get another Slovakian medal? We've been talking to some of the Slovakian supporters yesterday, and they're hoping for more success at these championships. Medals have been spread out. They may be even more spread out tonight. It's going to be a great evening of finals to look forward to. Another 20 plus titles to be handed out tonight for day 5 of competition here in Funchal. We will be back local time here, 1700 hours. And we hope you're able to join us. It should be another exciting day of action. Day 5 finals to come. Join us tonight. We will be here. We hope you will too.